Are you admiring my morphophysiology?
Yes, I am. How are you
Be-
doing today, Wooly? You having a
Be
good afternoon?
calm. Be calm, ham sandwich. You are not in danger, for you are no threat to me. Now that I have been promoted to Chief Executive Officer of Representation and Inclusion, all will be well. All will be fine. Your haplogroup, A4B, diverges from the circumpinnacle, as distinguished by our new chart. I would like to thank Activision Blizzard and Hard Drive.
King. Don't forget King.
And King, as well as Hard Drive, for the new technology which will allow us to measure the cranial divots of our characters to include maximum diversity.
They're like, I had a moment. There's two moments. One is right before we start the podcast when we're coming in on the intro. Wooly tells me that we're coming in on the intro, and usually it's like, intro's running. Okay, we'll be live. You know, it's very normal. But today, there was just the smidgen of intros just the barely contained mirth. But more than that, last week, I want to say it was last week on this podcast, I brought up some bullshit about Activision Blizzard, and you like rolled your eyes and you're like, it's always the same story that's gonna be here every week. It's never any different. And so I see fluttering down onto my network feed, oh, this is a new one. Oh, this is interesting. This is definitely not the same story as last week. Oh boy.
Pay no attention to the union busting efforts that are occurring
What's a union?
just over there.
Don't what? Who could even?
We need to focus on the degeneracy of the ham sandwich races and the points and the values therein. You, sir, are not Arab. Therefore,
I'm not. It's true.
You appear to have a score of a 0 on our list. And truly this indicates that you are a consumer of Al Ghul.
There's so much here, I don't even know where to start.
I like CEO Measurehead.
So much.
I'm a fan of Measurehead, has been hired by Activision Blizzard and is now in charge. I'm down with that.
I have spent hours and hours digging into this to try and find every possible detail, and I feel pretty happy with what I've come away with. But before we go any further, we should probably explain exactly what we're talking about.
I guess.
Do you want to take it, or do you want me to take it?
I mean, if you've done the digging, then by all means.
So, in a news story we will get to after it because it's actually pretty common and not nearly as fun, Activision Blizzard is in the process of cleaning house and attempting to put the kibosh on the Raven QA department's incoming unionization, firing people, promoting people to different departments, quote-unquote threatening them with extra pay was a phrase I saw, which was fascinating. And in order to put the eyeball of scorn away from their staunch anti-union tactics, Activision Blizzard put out a blog detailing a particular method and or tool that they are, one, proud of creating, two, admit to using in at least 2 games so far, and 3, discuss how excited they are for this method and tool for the future and how they want to share it, i.e. license it out to the entire gaming industry. This is where we get the ill-fated Activision Blizzard-King blog about the diversity chart, which lasted less than 24 hours before they pulled every image from that blog, as well as putting an addendum saying that it was in beta, as well as it's just a diagnostic tool. It's not being used to design characters. And then, if you dig a little deeper, you can find the 40-minute GDC talk from 5 years ago, in which the creation of the tool is described ad nauseum. And that talk is fucking crazy. I highly suggest you go find it and watch that thing. That thing is nuts.
So I was, having an all right weekend, and as someone who's, no longer a religious man, every once in a while a story gets released where you just kind of look up and you're like, hey.
That
one was for me. That one was for me.
So why is it that the diversity tool is causing such a hubbub, Wooly? Could you take this away?
No, I didn't. I have not gone into the GDC talk. I didn't go into the background stuff. So I don't even know what's happening on that level. But essentially, it appears that the chart that they've displayed here is one that basically ranks every trait of their characters and decides that, like, okay, if the base level of 0 is your starting point of a, average straight white man, that is kind of like the default point, then everything after that is worth a value of differing from that origin point. But the values then have to be ranked and attributed according to some sort of metric, which then makes it very strange, because one has to decide which shades of brown are worth more, or what places are worth more, and it is just the most ridiculously horrifying but also obviously ghoulish look into what we know a giant corporation needs to try and understand humanity, right? It has to be quantifiable. There's going to be people that need these types of things. And quite frankly, there is not a chance that this type of tool is the first of its kind. This is just the first that's been publicly used as a diversion tactic from the union busting going on, as a major, like, hey, look at what we're doing over here. There's tons of tools like this. There must be. They just happen to keep them quiet.
Because,
what the fuck are you doing?
So... I've gone ahead and pulled the slides.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is that the story got updated, and then they started they removed all pictures, certainly, and here's the thing.
Too late, motherfuckers.
And the pictures are insanely telling of what's going on, and it's nuts, because, like, everything following up has been like, so I saw there was like an artist on that said, like, oh god, this is embarrassing and stupid, and essentially
we'll talk about her in a sec. I got her stuff bookmarked,
right, and that this is the type of thing that could be just for boardrooms and for those types of people, and not necessarily, and because our artists have eyes and can just, they don't need this type of wild shit. But then the 5 years ago thing apparently doesn't seem to make sense with that timeline, especially if they know that on the fucking on the if that's from the boardroom side of things that has to measure that. It's not surprising at all, but it seems, based on what the article was kind of describing, that this is also very likely well-meaning employees that like pushed this as a background thing that then came to the forefront, and as a result of quantifying these things that we would like to see in general and putting a specific point value on each thing, it couldn't look worse. And it's like, I think it's the wildest video game news story of the decade.
You need to go watch that GDC talk, because I'm gonna break it down in general.
Okay.
But like, so let's go back in time. Okay. Let's start. Hold on, William. I'm gonna upload a file to your Discord.
Sure. Well,
it's called the Diversity Space Tool 1 JPEG, so that you have what I'm working with here.
Yeah. So everyone saw this stuff first, and then I guess learned about.
Yeah. So we'll go in order
Okay. You've done some homework here. I just lined up some Measurehead memes, but by all means, take it away.
Like, this is the most fast. As somebody with a background and there was a potential path for me into clinical psychology, which is where phrenology came from. This is just the peak, like, abuse of that whole field. So they put out an original chart that had Lucio, Zarya, and Torbjorn on it, right? And so we all know where those characters are from and what they look like. So right away you can tell that's interesting. The fact that Torbjorn is short and is missing a body part makes him more diverse than Lucio. If you look at that chart, the chart, actually, Torbjorn is the highest score on that chart
by comparison.
And his big win is body type.
Right.
Okay, I started to lose my mind, Wooly, because under that metric, because I am small, I am more diverse than you, who are black.
Now hold on a minute,
because that's how the scores play out.
Hold on a minute.
We're in the same place.
What? Okay, that's true. Lucio and Torbjorn. Directly on the list. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that started to throw people, because one, like, wait, why, like, Russia and Brazil are being listed as, but Torbjorn's Swedish. Are these all the same level? But fuck that. The Anna slide is actually much more detailed in terms of analytics and actually tells you a lot more about the thought process. So we're going to go down Anna. For one,
I got points on body type, though.
Yeah. So Anna has the Egyptian and Egyptian culture and Arabic race options.
Yes.
Which means she hits a 7 out of 10 on ethnicity and race. That has to put Arabs near the top, right? Because as you can see on Lucio's chart, black is a 3.
Black is a 3.
White is a 0, black is a 3, Arabic is a 7. There's
Culture
no way to
race.
Figure out where
What's
Latinos. What's a 10?
What's a 10?
I'll tell you in a minute. I have an answer.
You have a 10. Okay.
There is. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Age 60. That's a 7. Old people. No. Okay. So the age one is by far the easiest. You start at 20, and every 10 years after that,
point.
You add a point or two. Okay. That one I think everyone can understand.
Okay.
Okay. Cognitive ability at 0. So there's no details anywhere that I could find on the cognitive ability chart. Okay? But it has to be level of mental acuity and or neurodivergence. So the only person on the Overwatch cast that would have a point in that would be
Symmetra?
what's her name? Symmetra, because she was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum at some point a million years ago.
Right.
So the more neurodivergent you are, the more points. Again, Wooly, as I suffer from an anxiety and an obsessive compulsive disorder, and you don't, I'm beating you here on the diversity chart.
We'll
to
have to find out. We'll have to find out. Although, the idea of looking down that list of characters and seeing a 0 in the neurodivergency column and deciding, oh, fuck. Okay, well, we got to throw one in there.
Yeah,
seems to be in somewhat a plausible scenario,
so
especially when you consider...
People have taken apart the
averages
you see on the rolls,
and so when you consider the fact
two gay characters across the entire spectrum,
exactly. So Tracer and 76 would have had way less points until you go, oh well, hold on a minute, let's introduce the last second.
They were chosen to be the gay characters on the cast,
and therefore that creates an average. Like it's like the number that they got to was like I think it was 0.336 or something like that. Said
something ridiculous.
Of the full roster, it means that those are the two, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay, so physical ability. One-eyed, she gets a 4. So how much of your body is replaced by nothing? That makes sense. Like
robot
if you're
limbs
both
or
legs,
such.
You'd be a 6 or whatever. Then you have body type, which is slim and curvy at a 0, which is hilarious because that's almost every single female character in Overwatch.
So hold on a second. If your age, if age 20 is a 0, then like what about younger?
I guess that would
go. Does it go back up? Negative? Does it go back up?
Sure. Well, not negative, but it would just it'd be distance from the norm.
Okay.
Right?
Because I'm like,
then we have gender identity is woman as a 5. Good job, women's.
Right.
Being a woman is more diverse than being black. I am not going to let go of black being a 3.
Right.
That's the most hilarious thing. However,
out of 5.
Out of 10. Yeah,
the
whole score is out of 10.
Gotcha.
However, being a woman isn't as diverse as being Arabic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so let's all keep that in mind.
So if a woman is 5 out of 10, then how do you... I guess that would place trans at a higher value?
It would have to. It would have to. But then the question is, do trans women and trans men have different scores?
Okay.
Because now, I saw some non-binary people
NB
going through the
is a 0.
I saw NB as a 0 because that means that according to the chart, non-binary people are being counted the same as men.
And so robots and Bastion and like that's all 0. So that's you get nothing, no points on that.
Not quite.
No.
Not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. And then then you have sexual orientation at heterosexual, which is a 0, and then socioeconomic background at middle class being a 0. So anyone rich or poorer than middle class will be higher in the scale.
Socioeconomic background.
So there's all this data, and you're like, wow, this is really, really fucking warped. And then on the ANA chart that I sent to you, Wooly, do you have that up ahead in front of you?
I certainly do, but like I definitely can understand why so many questions about Winston are raised.
Yeah, but before we move on, there's a little Easter egg in that photo. There's a tiny little Easter egg in that photo.
Oh, Cowboy.
Yeah, you saw him, huh?
Yeah.
You mean McCree?
Yeah.
The character that's still in documentation internally being referred to as McCree?
Internally, yeah. That's that's I mean, it's such a subtle thing, but it says so much.
Yeah, change it. Just
fucking
make it okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's go back in time. We're going to go back in time to 5 years ago where almost all of these images actually come from, which is the GDC talk.
which would
right?
make
So
sense.
in that
Okay.
GDC talk, it was a talk exclusively by King, in which they described they wanted to make a tool to get rid of unconscious bias. Now, King, I can't tell from their accent. It seems very like Eastern European. It's like Swedish, Estonian. So I can't place it, but it's East White Europe, basically. And so King is doing this talk, and they're showing off these slides, and they're talking about how they need to get away from unconscious bias, and we need to get away from certain types of characters. And the number one, I don't know where Sweden is, who cares? Anyway, we need to get away from these types of characters. So then they pull out the slide of the types of characters they want to get away from. Number one is unrealistic body types, in which they show every female character from Tekken on the slide.
Okay.
And that is the only time a Japanese character is ever displayed in the fucking presentation.
Wow. Okay.
It is literally the cast of Tekken 6.
So, yeah, you can't be jacked, and have different, I guess, levels of mass, I suppose.
But the real kicker, it's the cherry on top of the avoid bias tool, is the second slide, which is we need to get away from angry black men.
Right, and
the slide has 3 characters on it:
Barrett, Big Bo,
Barrett,
and TJ.
No,
Jax.
It has Barrett. It has Jax from Mortal Kombat 10, and it has
Cole. Yes.
From
You're right.
Gears of War.
Yeah, that's what it was. Right. Yeah.
And it's like 2 of these characters are actively happy. And Barrett is actually a sad black man. He's just mad about climate change.
Threatening. Wow. Okay. All right.
And if you dig deep enough into this GDC talk, and you see into the bragging in which it was used for Call of Duty Vanguard, they specifically mentioned that this tool was used for Call of Duty Vanguard. You discover that the robot in Call of Duty has a higher score than the black guy, which means Winston and Bastion and all of them get maximum scores as non-humans.
Okay. So not quite angry stereotype as much as loud, then. Loud stereotype.
It's in giant block letters. Angry black man must avoid.
Okay.
Which is hilarious in its own right.
It's just I keep like, again, like I keep feeling that it's the type of thing that just like the Borg is going to try to analyze and create an output. So why wouldn't there be a spreadsheet that quantifies these things? What is the problem? What we want an outcome. We want to ensure that outcome. Therefore, plug in the data to ensure the outcome.
Now we come to the artist.
What's the problem?
She's an artist.
What's the problem?
Who you mentioned earlier, one Melissa Kelly, who quote, "God, I swear our own company tries so hard to slaughter any goodwill the actual devs who make the game have built. Overwatch doesn't even use this creepy dystopian chart. Our writers have eyes, the artists have eyes, producers, directors, etc., as I all know, have eyes." And I believe her. Overwatch, the timing on Overwatch's development legitimately doesn't work with the creation of this tool. The characters would have all been made. But what does jive with the creation of this tool is, hey, we're in trouble. Symmetra has autism. Soldier 76 is gay. We changed the cowboy name. And then in that original blog, they describe that the tool is actively being used in the Overwatch 2 character creation process.
Well, so that's the thing is, like, the products of the tool can be used to, like, fucking, hey, over here, right? You can use the products, the results of the tool to, like, do the distraction. But at a certain point, I guess you run out of distractions, and so you just have to show the tool itself off, including the screenshots that I get that are, apparently years old, and just go, this is what, this is how we're doing this. This is what we're proudly doing. And like, I guess the idea was just look how much they're doing and how conscientious they are of these things.
They say that Overwatch 2 used the tool, right? Well, currently there's been one Overwatch 2 character that's been revealed. Are you familiar with this character?
Who was it? I don't remember who the new character unveiled was.
So the new character is a character called Sojourn, and she is a black woman from Toronto who is a head-to-toe, like chin-down cyborg.
Right. Yes. Okay.
And I'm looking at this character, and I'm like,
with
black woman gets you points on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
But Toronto doesn't. So chrome her up head to toe. So she can get the body points.
I mean, like, it doesn't seem like their goal was to get everyone as high a score as possible to a maximum 10 overall. Mm-hmm. It seems as if by showing that header of, like, multiple different shapes and circles, the goal was to have as many different circles be disconcentric.
You're half right. There were two goals. The primary goal was actually pretty simple, and it is the one part about this whole thing that is, like, sadly laudable. Do you remember? It's a meme image that was going around that was what every main character of the 7th and 8th generation of video games looked like, and they were all Commander Shepard.
Yep, shaved-haired soldier man. I've made fun of it, and I've talked about a ton of times the character creator problem of multiple games that, kind of just come in with bland options. Yeah, for sure.
So that is an image used in the original talk. And that image is what's being used as 0 in the chart. Mm-hmm. And it was basically the people over at King going, that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But the natural inclination of the team is to just keep making these types of characters. So the goal is actually, it's not even to get to the most amount of diversity originally. It was fucking stop this exact problem over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And the failure point was, let's make a robot that'll teach the team not to be racist.
So when you come back around the other side, right? You go around, you start out with the purest intentions, and because we live in a world written by Hideo Kojima, GB, the AI system has decided that the solution to war, it's coming around the other way, and it's going, all right, there's a halfway point. Here's the fucked up thing, right? And this is real. Inside your head internally, there's a halfway point that can exist that is generally a good thing when you kind of go, oh, hey, Street Fighter has been all about the World Warriors, but there's never been a Canadian. Let's throw Abigail in there, right?
There you go.
And you're like, oh shit,
Tekken,
it's true.
We've never had anybody from Poland, so then they throw in the Polish president.
Oh shit,
character in Tekken.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true, eh? Okay, cool. And it's a like a single point of data as opposed to a numerically ranked and quantified.
Yeah. So
distance
for Tekken,
from zero.
It's actually a really good example where in interviews going back to Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken 4, they say the way a character is designed in Tekken is they pick the fighting style. That's the number one. They say, we want a Muay Thai boxer. And then they go, what's a cool stereotype of a Muay Thai boxer? Where would they be from? What would they look like? And they design what they think would be a cool stereotype along that
style
martial art, which almost always ends up being a person from that country.
Yeah,
who looks kind of like people from that country.
But then they kind of get wild with it. Like Fakumram is, like a big Muay Thai guy, right?
He's like 85 foot tall.
But that's following up from the Wing Chun practitioner Leroy,
Yeah.
So, and that's again like no numbers, just like, oh, what have we not done yet? What might be interesting? Which is something that an artist can sit and do inside their head as an on-off binary switch.
It's just this thing where over and over and over, like I see every single response to everybody who works in game dev going like, so the solution to no diversity of thought was instead of hiring like a Latino guy and a woman, it was, what if we made a robot that could teach us to not do an implicit racism,
and and identify identify the weak points, and then build up enough in that. Like at a certain point, the next natural step, because again, right, distraction, but also. And I mean, distraction works, certainly, because even in the ridiculousness of the story, it certainly did cover up the union busting. And it will continue because this is wild. This is a wild one. But the fact that you can imagine a world where that tool is, they put it out there, right? The next natural step, had they not been fucking laughed off the stage, would be, okay, that data now go and select from a database of pre-drawn or modeled body types, faces, hairstyles, locations, backgrounds, and so on, and literally hit the generate button and then go increase the point value. Generate seed, re-randomize, increase the point value, generate seed.
I want a male character. Okay, and I want him to missing an arm. Okay, now what? And I need
what's that worth? And fill in the blanks, right? Desired score 8. Okay, any other hard metrics? Cool. We'll fill in the blanks on you and spit one out. Yeah.
So where it becomes the saddest, where it becomes the absolute saddest shit in the world, is I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to, at the very least, the Overwatch 1 team that they didn't use this because it doesn't even make any sense, right? But who I won't give the benefit of the doubt to is, I bet you anything that this metric was used to deny characters on arbitrary grounds because they didn't fit certain criteria. But the real reason was that whoever was in charge just said, I don't like this character for whatever reason.
Well, here's the thing, right? You can go back to that Overwatch concept art and see all the characters that never got greenlit, right?
Yeah.
The old piece that had like the first look at Athena and so on, and I'm sure you can go in there and then go like, yeah, if this tool comes out about later, you're going to retroactively probably put some of those characters through the list, perhaps decide a value and go, yeah, we're not going to go with that one.
And I won't put it past a situation in which legitimately well-meaning artists and talented people are in a situation in which my fucking boss doesn't get this shit so bad, I have to turn it into a number.
Exactly.
It has to be a number. I can say the cast is 42 white people and out of 46 on the Overwatch roster, and they go, so what? There's a black guy, there's an Asian guy, whatever. But it doesn't work until I bring him a pie chart. Doesn't work. It just won't go through.
Yeah, the concept of inherent tokenization is not something that's going to be felt. So you have to put it on paper. Like I said, Borg must process, does not understand outcome, you know? And that may or may not be the case, and I don't think we'll ever find out, because unless there's another GDC talk in there that'll, you know,
there is not.
show. But like that being used as a buffer between suits that need to see numbers to make sure that it's worth it for them to go down this road and to greenlight those characters or not, is very, very plausible. But you know, it could also like the way they're kind of like mentioning it as like what was the detail about it? Like it was worked on in our spare time, right? Like there was something about something along those lines that was kind of like it was worked on in the spare time, and it was just developed over time, and now it's become this sophisticated tool that kind of made it seem like it was like no, it's not just a higher up buffer. Like there were like devs that were working on this that like wanted to use this as a tool going forward, and you know, who knows? Either way, I guess now comes the part where we'll talk about how happy we are to show you our results, and we just won't show you a glimpse behind the scenes ever. Because that's fucking embarrassing. And any other company that has a tool like this, which I assure you they do, will know to essentially just be like, yeah, we're gonna have our weird, creepy Borg tool and keep it private. Because something as simple as like just going, I don't know, like something as simple as going on like the intuition of someone who probably has, you know, like some experience lived as somebody who's not quite a buzzcut soldier man might, you know, it might be more natural to just let them design and create a person. It's wild. It's I think this is the single craziest fucking look internally at anything that's been happening at a game company in the last 10 years that I've ever seen. It's the craziest one.
It definitely, so more than absolutely anything, like we could throw all the details of everybody who worked and signed off on this, like throw all that away. The core takeaway for me is the person who was in charge of creating good PR to distract from the union busting saw this shit and was like, yeah, this looks good. Everyone's gonna think we're so cool.
Show us the email chain where you decided what the numbers were. That's like, I can't think of anything I'd like to see more than a fly on the wall in the conversation where they decided what the numbers were worth. Right? Because there's no possibility. It is impossible to have that conversation and not have it be the most insane, racist MEASUREHEAD shit on the planet. Like when you decide what a 7 is and what a 5 is and what a 3 is, you can't not sound like the most insane psycho racist. I can't imagine it. I'd love to see it, and I'd love to see the flowery language that was used, you know, to present it in a different way. But those numbers came out somewhere, somehow. They're the product of some discussion. I want to know. I want to see it.
I can tell you exactly how those numbers got created. I can tell you the 100% certainty. King or the teams at Activision Blizzard decided that a 0 would be the standard white male, cis straight white male, right? That was in the office, and then every point up is how far outside the office do we have to go
to get to that
before we encounter this person.
Because that's like, if it's not just the darker the skin, like the Family Guy meme, the higher the point, right? Then yeah, it had, like, you have to go on, I guess, just like population and distance, GPS, you know, like I would love to see the data. I would love to see it. Incredible.
So I've been one of the reasons I scraped it so hard, and there are people like breaking down every possible, like math nerds
Mm-hmm.
breaking down, like, well, here's the X and the Y. Can we get the Z?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't enough. There isn't enough.
Can't use
But I
algebra
want it so bad.
to
I
extract
want
because
to be able to punch myself into the system.
oh man, it
I want to know who decided a robot is a top of the list on diversity. One of the most common characters in games ever.
Well, that's what you want. I just want the evolution of the meta because, quite frankly, like I saw someone at a video or like a post where they're like, "Okay, time to speculate, guys. Highest tier possible character, Dalsim, right? Based on location, based on age, right? Based on a number of factors. Okay, lowest tier possible speculation, Ethan Mars, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Definitely.
I have a potential max score, and that is Kane from Binary Domain.
Okay.
The French robot.
Wow. Okay.
He's not just any robot. He's a French robot.
Happens to be French in specific. Okay. Yeah. No. I want the meta. I want the meta. That's what I want to see. I want to see people, finding like we can retrofit other characters into this build. We can figure it out. We can come up with some numbers here.
It just makes me laugh super hard because you have these characters that from a distance would fit into the generic mold, but I could do some creative math and give them big scores. And the one that pops into my mind right away is Geralt from The Witcher because he's like 120 years old and is probably suffers from depression. And he's an albino.
I can't believe like how pre-packaged this meme was delivered to the internet. Like it was bow-tied.
And he's Polish and he's a victim of discrimination.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. Did
you know that 2B would actually get a high body score despite being a sexy ass lady because she weighs over 400 pounds?
Right. Weight. Okay. Yep. Yeah, man.
I think
I don't know. It feels anyway. It feels as if like I'm glad that there's a collective like overall general feeling of just like holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because like there's been an era of like what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that when you get
I don't know, there's so much.
like I'm like, are you now with this tool closer to the people who are like, fuck any kind of diversity or inclusion or anything and representation? We want our soldier men shaved headed, and that's the kind of game I want. I want to relate to that game. The people who get mad in Rust, you know what I mean? Is this tool not closer to that? Despite the fact that it was designed to be against it? Are you not just on the same side at a certain point?
The funniest, the absolute funniest
when it matters to you to that level,
the absolute funniest thing in the world that I have noticed about this was somebody I retweeted that had the great idea to, quote, putting a 3,000-year-old tsundere anime girl into the Activision racism dial to destroy it like an evil Star Trek computer. Because it can't.
I mean,
no, the core takeaway is that every time ever that you feel the desperate urge to applaud somebody for applaud a company for taking steps against tokenization or towards diversity or whatever, remember that they all may not have nearly a sophisticated robot or chart, but that is how all of these decisions are made at the top level. Every time. No one gets any credit, ever.
I think I'm willing to give less benefit of the doubt to Activision Blizzard over time, as we've seen like the messes get worse and the distractions get louder.
They have the shittiest PR company.
It's
or PR
unbelievable.
Like it's oh my god, the worst.
Because so we reported on a story. I get reported.
Okay, we're reporters.
We reported on a story. God, no. All right, no. We didn't report on anything. We looked at some shit that was happening and fucking made dick jokes around it. But no, we talked about the fact that Raven Software was trying to unionize some time ago, and that they were getting some headway. And basically, what came out right around the time of this diversity tool was that they fired 12 team members from Raven and have started sending out pre-election union busting things like letters, messages, and generally trying to threaten people and kind of say, please vote no on all this unionization efforts that the Raven Software team is putting together. So like it's kind of it's an ongoing bit, but like every single step of the way, you have to look and go like they almost might rather the controversy of this racial shit than that. But
yeah, but it didn't work. It actually spotlighted it. Like, it's very obvious. What's fascinating about the games industry, because anti-union efforts at a big company, that's common everywhere, right? You got Walmart, you got the movie theater downtown on St. Catherine is crazy anti-union, for example. But depending on what company you're dealing with, their efforts for dealing with a union are varied. So what's Walmart do when people start talking about union?
Shut the fucking store down.
Burn the whole store down.
Fuck your community,
just
we're
leave.
Out.
Total loss.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's better than letting giving an inch.
Mm-hmm.
But the game industry doesn't what are they going to throw away their whole QA department like in a day? That needs to be replaced, right? Mm-hmm. It's not that simple. So instead, you get tier 2 of fire people, threaten people. Move them around, promote important people out of the office.
The Amazon Scream box just didn't quite cut it,
And then you run into a problem in which if you come down on people who are really genuinely gung-ho about starting a union, the harder you come down on them, the harder they're going to want to make a union. Because you're just demonstrating how much
why
of a
they
fucking
need
asshole the company is.
Yeah. No, it was pretty funny. Like there's videos of like HR at Amazon like walking by and like throwing the papers in the garbage and pulling the stickers down, and it's super illegal to do that. And they're like, yeah, well, fuck you, and they get caught on camera and then come back 10 minutes later and do it again anyway, and
what's fascinating to me is that all of this Activision Blizzard-King stuff is in the wake of them being purchased by Microsoft, which has not fully gone through yet. and we're in a weird situation where Kodak's being sued, saying he doesn't have the right to even do the deal, and then you have what I'm going to call cleaning up before the merger, which is, I would not put it past somebody at Microsoft going, we are not buying a fucking company that just fucking unionized. You fucking kill that. You fucking kill it. And so on and so forth.
Not to
but
mention,
it's not going well.
There's that, and then I also saw there's an article about the other things getting in the way, including like I think like Bobby Kotick's ongoing legal shit was getting in the way of the deal to some degree, and the fact that something anti-monopoly related was also like investigating to see if this was too big of a purchase, you know, like so there's a million little factors coming through that are kind of interrupting this deal. I still want to see the point score.
I want the numbers.
I need to know. Need to know. Yeah.
Hey, if you listen to this podcast and you're like mad at your boss at Activision Blizzard because they're an asshole, and you have the ability to leak out the numbers, please seriously consider doing so. Maybe even the whole tool. Come on. Be a hero.
This is tangentially related, but I'm sure you've seen the stuff that's been going through with like Chris Smalls and the Amazon progress that's happening and stuff.
I haven't caught much of that.
Okay, well, in any case, basically, the guy that's spearheading the Amazon like unionization efforts is like he dresses in a very like hip hop black style kind of thing, and like is all, and that's what he does, and it's just it's hilarious because every single time a picture or a post or something goes up, play the game with me, which is scroll down in the comments on any social media and see how fast you can find the post that says, "Now guys, despite the way don't judge a book by its cover." Despite the way some of you might be thinking when you look at this individual certain things, but don't, like look good for him. He's making look at the things he's doing. There's a really hilarious game of fucking don't judge a book by the cover comment. Find it as fast as possible every time one of those posts goes up. It's wild. It happens every single time. Anyway, whatever. Yeah.
You know what the saddest thing is
what?
That well, you've been working in this business for a long time. You've really actually worked in the business. I've always been on the periphery, right? And we're never going to get more details on that machine because Blizzard is like the shining beacon of the company I could never find out anything about ever at all. Whatever the fuck they have you agree to when you work there in terms of NDA has got to be the fucking craziest thing ever, because we've had people who worked at Microsoft, we've had people who worked at Capcom, we've had people who worked at Bethesda. They'll just fucking blah blah blah. You talk to somebody from fucking Blizzard, hey, what are you working on? Nothing. What's Titan? What is Titan?
Well, that's what I was literally about to say. Like going back years, that's always been the case. It's been the most airtight ship. And I remember getting a feeling for that when, I mean, again, it wasn't like a full test or anything, but there was a point in which I did an evaluation for StarCraft 2, and this was in the early days of it, and I remember like the level of lockdown and like it was the amount of red tape that the office had to go through to even get that kind of contract in was wild. They had to like literally build new security labs for a different level of like access, and then the idea of like, what the fuck is this word Titan? What does it actually mean? And like people inside the company did not know. If you were not on the team, you did not know. being there didn't mean you automatically were privy to that information, which is crazy because the other places I worked after the fact, when there were other projects in the office, there'd often be like, meetings to show you what else is going on and what other projects the studio's up to.
The usual feeling that I've gotten from most people that I talk to is it in the building you're working in? They'll show it to you at some point. Just be like, hey, guys from this department, come on and we'll show you the thing, but shh.
There's a presentation, and then here's what it was. Exactly. Yeah. So, good.
Numbers. I want the numbers.
Good business. That's good. That's good stuff. That's good podcasting material right there. It's
Oh my God. I just had a stroke of genius. Here's a free meme to whoever wants it. The scene from Call of Duty Black Ops in which a figure behind a light is screaming at Mason, what do the numbers mean? As a bunch of TVs are flickering all sorts of weird coded bullshit. If you're good at video editing and Photoshop, you just fucking go for it. That one's for free. Send it to me, though.
I mean, dude, I may just be black, but I do have an overweight body type. I do have.
But you're tall.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. So that balances out to some degree.
I may not be black, but I have an overweight body type, and I am small.
Okay, well, some things are a 0 and some things are a 5. This is.
You were pre-diabetic, but I have the gout.
I dodged the pre-diabetic state. Admittedly, I got back out.
That puts you back to a 0.
That does drop me back down. Yeah, and then okay.
There's a point somewhere in here.
Hold on, though.
Just like,
but what doesn't confusing your left and your right from time to time give me some points?
No.
Aren't I somewhere on the chart for that?
No.
Come on. Okay.
This is the best. It made me laugh. Like the hard drive article.
Not just black though. Grenada specifically. That's rare. That's rare.
Are you a rare black?
I'm a rare black. Because it's half Jamaica, but it's half Grenada in there. That is rare black.
Well then,
shiny out the foil case.
You get 1 extra black point up to 4.
Shit. Okay. All right. Okay. Fine. I'm a shiny rare black.
You know how sometimes you see some kind of funny thing that happens, like in Avengers, where Hulk has his voice line missing and it says disagreeable grunt and it's just a robot. And you're like, ha ha ha, that's funny. And in your heart, that'll be gone by tomorrow. Like no one will care about that.
Yep.
And then other times you have things that people who follow really closely will remember forever, like every interview that happened with Itagaki where he would get wasted and like threaten Western journalists with a samurai sword.
Do you like Japanese swords? Tequila?
Right? And that'll stick around in my heart forever, right? But then you get this. This one's built in now. This one's not going away.
Like you've made Measurehead proud. You've literally done it. You've done the thing where because there's the bit, but then there's the part where in the middle of the Measurehead conversation, when you go deep enough in, he starts ranking the haplogroups.
Yeah.
He gives them numbers, and he tells you, that if you stray from the ultra pinnacle, you might have been a high value at a certain point, but then that value lowers. With the stench of potato. Like, it's fucking unbelievable that it literally goes into that territory, and it was a point of pride.
I feel a little bit of sympathy for the guys over at Hard Drive because, for one thing, this is the fastest I have ever seen them make an article based on something.
1-2 hours later, tops. Like,
I want to say it was like sub 20 minutes.
It was instantaneous.
But at the same time, like, they all the graphics were already made for them. Like they just used the existing pictures.
No Photoshop. Didn't have to open Photoshop at all.
If you go and read the article, like, they barely had to change anything at all. Like,
yeah.
Like, it unironically wrote itself. I hope everyone at Raven Software got a really good laugh at the shittiest deflect attempt ever in the games business.
Man.
Best of luck to your unionization, gang.
When you just... there's when you push... when you go so far off the fucking... off the sides... When you Sephiroth life bar... the chart point, and you just loop back around the other side, and it's like like it.
Well, in game design terms, it's really easy. We want to get below zero racism. Just keep minusing. Oh, we hit 255.
But it's like, it's the equivalent of like when you hit 255 on one end and 0 on the other, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the equivalent when you fly so far the opposite way, where you're just like, fuck these Negroes. We need to get them the fuck away from our women, because what would happen if they got to our women? Oh, could you imagine it? Could you imagine if they got to our women? I sure could. Oh.
Could you stop eating off, sir? Sir, could you put it away?
We need to keep them away.
Just put it away. Sir.
It's when you come all the way back. Like, what happened? Where did it loop? All right.
Oh.
So how was your week?
My week was great because I'm sitting there on the Twitter, and just like, no, for me. Yeah. The only thing that could possibly make this better is if we discover that there was a partnership and cooperation in the development of this tool with the Canadian government, and with special input by Justin Trudeau in how you could get your diversity points higher.
That would be something. I remember, I think it was the end of the Get Into Fighting Games stream. Someone came in and was like, yo, have you seen this shit? And I was like, nope, not yet. Nope, Save it.
Can't.
Save it. All right.
So yeah, I had a great week. Aside from this shenanigans, I played a couple games. I watched Moon Knight.
Heard good things.
It's pretty good. Like, it's pretty par for the course for Marvel's TV show stuff.
I heard it was a bit more. Well, I mean, because Moon Knight is a bit more extreme. He's kind of like Deadpool in that. It's going to be a little less tame, right?
Yeah, it was good. I'm going to give it a 7. Oscar's
cool.
Isaac?
Yeah.
Is that the guy's name? He's the best part by far.
Yeah, he's great.
Him flip-flopping between American and Cockney British man is a lot of fun. To the point where every time they have to do superhero shit, you're like, oh, I kind of just want more scenes of them arguing with each other in a mirror. Like, I kind of just want Oscar Isaac to just be hanging out in a room doing a bunch of acting, and then when they start doing the kicking and the punching and then that shit, you're like, okay. Ethan Hawke is terrible as the villain. Just like maybe I'm crazy, but terrible. Just the worst.
Does it feel like him underperforming, or does it feel like the role is weird?
I don't know.
Because Ethan Hawke can do a good job in the right context.
Sure. It's just he's so boring. He's just like you have this kind of hyperactive main character that's very interesting, and then you have a you know what? Maybe people are correct.
It's the antithesis of the hyper crazy guy. He's boring as a result of the main character capturing the opposite energy.
No, he's just people are saying in the chat that the character is terrible, and you know what? The character is terrible. So maybe I'm confusing his acting with how terrible the villain is in Moon Knight. The villain is terrible in Moon Knight.
Okay.
It is a drag when he is on the screen.
Because if like Moon Knight is the type of character that's anything but boring. So if there's an intentional decision to do like what you do with a ton of other characters and heroes and villains and have them, play opposites.
He's just hyper calm and soft spoken and smug, and it's just so dull.
Okay. It's
just so fucking dull. But it was a fun thing. There was at least a cool, like, I don't know who they got playing Khonshu, but it feels like Peter Cullen. Even though it's not Peter Cullen, it feels like Optimus Prime as Khonshu.
You went through the whole thing?
Yeah, it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty short. Let's see. What else did I fucking do with my time? Now I gotta go. Oh, I spent the better part of 2 weeks fighting Deus Ex 1. I wanted to stream Deus Ex 1.
And you decided to not run it through, like, any sort of emulator to simplify the process.
I tried everything.
Yeah.
And, in fact, Daxalog, I swear to God, I will ban you from this chat. Every time I say this, somebody goes, just use Kenty's launcher. And like, hey, no, when I say I tried everything, I even mean I had 2 different friends suggest detailed fixes that worked on their computers, but didn't work on my computer. And my personal favorite was getting every single thing perfectly ready, and it would work fine, and it would fucking record perfectly, and then I restart the computer, and OBS no longer knows what Deus Ex is. And that happened to me 3 different times. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that game. It doesn't want me to stream it. I'm so mad. It made me so pissed off.
Yo, we might be heading for a world where some games are so old and incompatible with modern systems that the only way to play it is by streaming.
Yeah.
Like, there might be a Parsec-style stream service to run an old game on an old setup and actually, like, have it work.
It also created a very interesting situation in terms of streaming the game, because it's a new version of works fine on my machine, in which I could play Deus Ex trivially easily. I had no issues playing it. The issue happens the instant you click that OBS button, and the game starts to go nuts.
Oh, so you were
up your monitor's brightness.
You were able to use a virtual machine.
No, I didn't need to. The Steam version works completely fine. As long as I'm not trying to record it.
Okay.
You go to record it and it goes to hook and it either doesn't hook or the brightness is completely broken or it stutters like fucking mad. And then you try and use DirectX 3D and the DirectX 3D runs like shit. So then you try OpenGL and then GL stuff. It's like, I'm going to die. Anyway, so I started playing BioShock 1 instead. That game is kind of hilarious in hindsight because in the immersive sim genre, a genre which I've talked about on this podcast and people tell me doesn't exist, but it does. It is the baby of the iSim. Like BioShock was supposed to be the spiritual successor to System Shock, which kind of originated it.
I think if anything, our last discussions about game genres prove that if one person believes in it, the genre exists.
Yeah. Well,
it's like
also
a tag
the
on
devs,
Steam.
The devs who make immersive sims literally call them immersive sims. So
yeah,
at least,
but like, who are you to tell me that boobs and butts RPGs don't exist?
I would tell you that they do.
Yeah,
there's
so that's
obviously boobs and butts RPGs.
They exist. That's it.
But BioShock 1 is strangely comfy as a game to go through nowadays because it's an iSim where there's no stress. You can't die. You can't die in BioShock. I don't know if you remember that, but you just hit the Vita chamber
and you
with
pop
nothing
back out.
lost.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, like, enemies are insanely, like, a single shot from a pistol will just ice them instantly, and they give you tons and tons of crowd control options right away, and you're drowning in items. Like, it's hilarious. Like, it's crazy how easy it is. People point out you can turn the Vita chambers off. You couldn't when the game came out. Most people don't know that, but when the game came out, you could not turn the Vita chambers off.
Now, the last time I remember discussing with you, you hated the pipe puzzles, right?
I don't hate the pipe puzzles. I hate how often you have to do the pipe puzzles.
Okay.
It's it's crazy. Every time you go to hack something, do a 30, 40-second pipe puzzle.
I didn't mind them, but I don't mind that kind of puzzle at the end of the day, I suppose.
So, H Bomber Guy put out a video about Deus Ex recently, which happened about 2 months ago, which had nothing to do with my attempt to play Deus Ex, but a lot of people brought it up, so I took a look at it. And one of the things that he talks about in that is that hacking in Deus Ex 1 is you walk up to a terminal and hit hack, and there's no minigame.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to do everything that you want in the system while the timer's going down. And he described something that I actually very much strongly agree with, which is that hacking minigames suck. They're kind of all terrible. They almost all freeze time. And they almost all take you right out of the moment. And in fact, in Deus Ex 1, when you're hacking something and have to worry about patrols sneaking up on you or being able to read all the emails in time.
Okay, it is fair that they break your immersion.
I saw people just say, other than Nier Automata, you're fucking nuts. That hacking minigame was so awful by the end of that game.
I didn't mind it. That's the thing is, and this is where it kind of comes down, like, it does destroy immersion and pause the action in a lot of cases. But I guess if the mini game you're playing is something that I enjoy doing, then I don't feel like it's a chore. And furthermore, in Nier Automata's case, the implementation of that mini game and where they go with it is fucking phenomenal. How that gets used in the narrative is the coolest shit. I love the payoff.
I love that, but as somebody who discovered early on in 9S's campaign that hacking enemies was the most optimum way to beat them, and hacked like a shit zillion enemies, I was real tired of that hacking by the end of it. I think probably, I just thought of an example that works against me. Have you ever played any of, have you played Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 or New Vegas? No, huh?
Not really. I mean, I
So they
yeah, no.
so they have two hacking mini games. One's the lockpick and one's the computer, right? I'm calling lockpicking hacking because it's functionally
It's
the
a mini
same.
game that gets the door
It's a mini
open.
game to unlock a door.
Mhm.
The lockpicking is great, and one of the reasons it's great is that you can get really good at it and do it super fast.
Mhm.
The computer hacking is so awful. The first time I ever play any of those games, I download a mod that just skips it because it takes forever.
Mhm.
It takes forever. It's crazy how long it takes.
Well, I can attest that as someone who worked on Thief,
Yeah.
I started out very much into the lock picking, and by the time we were done testing, I was sick of it. But the action of doing what feels like you're spinning the sticks around to find the hooks and doing the actions initially was interesting, but there's a certain amount of time that can go by where you're like, yeah, okay, I'm good with this feature. I'm done.
So, regardless of that, like, man, BioShock 1's just that game's art held up so well compared to many of its contemporaries at the time. Like, Rapture still looks and feels and sounds like one of the coolest locations ever.
Because it's stylized.
Oh yeah, it's stylized. It's interesting.
Not realistic. It's not hyper realistic. Yeah,
it's a cool looking location. Like, it's really, really interesting. It's really good. And so if the game plays a little easy or if it's a little tired, like whatever. What ruined my day? What unironically ruined my day was that I was talking about doing BioShock, and I said, if everybody really likes me doing BioShock, maybe I'll do BioShock 2. And then if everybody likes me doing BioShock 2, then I'll swallow my own vomit and play BioShock Infinite. To which the dastardly Mr. Feels Wild Ride informed me that before you play BioShock Infinite, if you want the best reading of the text, you have to go watch Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch. And I'm like, no, you don't. To which receipts were provided, in which prior to BioShock Infinite's release, Zack Snyder and Ken Levine did a podcast in which Ken Levine talks all sorts of adoration for how great Sucker Punch is.
Wow.
And then I start to think about BioShock Infinite, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
What? There's a connection there.
Which is crazy, because I don't know if you remember, but Sucker Punch plagiarizes the Final Fantasy 13
Everything.
trailer.
Yes, it does. Yeah. The fourth section of that movie is just the lightning trailer.
Yeah.
The train. And in fact, I mean, they're all the sequences. Again, it was a collection of 4 music videos that should have been put out in isolation, and then some. I still say sure. The whatever, the Gatling gun samurai, put it out. It's a poster, whatever kind of art moment. And then they strung it together with some live action, like horrible fucking whatever. But
apparently the Infinite DLC, like where you go back to Rapture and there's Elizabeth there
Minerva's
as well.
not Minerva's Den.
No.
The Return to Rapture. Yeah.
Apparently that stuff is like kind of like a fucking like Sucker Punch like fan thing. So man, that BioShock 1 though. Yeah. That like Ken Levine read half of Atlas Shrugged and went, wow, libertarians, huh?
Yeah. I mean, damn, dude. Like that. But like they do a really good job setting up the world. Like, I remember it takes you so long to get into Rapture.
Yeah, it's got quite a start.
and the entire journey over there is like, you're like, okay, this is the elevator pitch, this is the full, sell on the world, and shit like, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow, is absolutely gonna hit the person in the chest that's like, yeah, absolutely, and so is a child is entitled to the sweat of their brow as well.
It's really great.
But, yeah.
It's really great because when I was watching, like, is the man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington. It belongs to the poor. No, says the man in Moscow. No, says the man in the Vatican. It belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow. It belongs to everyone. And I believe I looked at that and it's like, no. And Andrew Ryan says, no, it belongs to me.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite Bioshock.
It is in fact a literal elevator pitch. That's true.
Looking at people picked all those. You remember Crypto Land, that fucking island from hell they were trying to get going?
Oh, the metaverse
Crypto
stuff?
Island. No, the physical island run by crypto with no laws.
No, I must have missed that one.
One of the funniest parts of that is that people just started taking the main account and photoshopping Andrew Ryan's head onto it.
Yeah, okay.
And just changing the word Crypto Land to Rapture.
Okay.
And it was just like a 1-to-1. It was right there.
Is that where that screenshot about the age of consent came from?
Yes. So that's a real.
That's what that was.
That's a real tweet that was just goofed around by changing the photos to BioShock characters.
Okay.
For those of you at home, you can't hear over Wooly's nervous laughter. He is pulling at his collar.
Woo. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, BioShock 1's great. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to go through it again and just see where the game completely falls apart.
Are you doing any particular type of build, or just going with the spare the sisters and do the weapons typicals run?
I'll figure it out as I go.
Because even though it's net negative, it'd be interesting to go through it a different way.
I'm saving the kids because it's net positive, and I'm lambasting the decision every time for being what might be the worst moral choice of that entire generation.
Okay.
But BioShock 1's crazy. You beat 2. I didn't beat 2.
Yep.
But BioShock 1 just completely falls apart in the last level.
Yeah.
Does 2 do the same thing?
The problem with 2's finale is that it tries to overcorrect by replacing the final boss. The 1's final boss is one of the worst final bosses in video games, right?
The whole level's awful.
So it tries to overcorrect by making it just a rush. What you call it? God, what is it called? Horde, right?
Yeah.
And you just go through a bunch of waves, and like it's a wave battle, but it's not wave battles are not that exciting, and they're not a big build up climax, really. It's
funny that you mentioned that because before BioShock 1's terrible boss fight, you have to fight waves of enemies. And in Infinite, the final boss fight is waves of enemies.
The gauntlet. Yeah, it's the gauntlet. Yeah.
Infinite's is like offensive because they build you up to fight the final boss and then go, no, don't shoot regular guys, and it's upsetting.
Now, a gauntlet is not inherently a complete failure of a choice for a final conflict. It can work if
Halo
the narrative
Reach is a
supports
really
it.
good example.
Shout outs to fucking Zach's Last Stand, right? Yeah. You can have the concept of a final moment where and Halo Reach, exactly. Those two are standout examples where the wave narratively is working, and so that whole thing pays off.
I went through Crisis Core twice, and I think it's Clemps who put out a video reviewing it and talking about it. I think that the final fight in Crisis Core is better than Crisis Core.
The entire game?
Because like all that shit with the slot machine and the fucking all that system shit is kind of garbage right up until the UI starts breaking apart.
In order. You're right? In order of fucking impact. Yeah. You put up with it, and then that's what you get. It's not totally on point. Not wrong at all. But anyway, like you can make a wave work. But in the case of BioShock 2, it was just trying to do the opposite end of the spectrum from one bad final boss. You know?
Yeah. All right, let's move on for BioShock. I played Kaiju Wars. You seen this at all?
You brought it up last week.
You should check it out. It's like Into the Breach, but not. It's Into the Breach, but with more advanced wars in it. Like you're building units to fight a kaiju and there's only one kaiju per map.
One enemy to fight.
And you can't beat them.
Oh, you just stall for time?
Yeah, it's literally stall for time. Even if you kill the kaiju on the next turn, an identical kaiju shows up, and you're literally just trying to stall until your research base can make some kind of breakthrough. So it is absolutely 100% stall for time.
Protect the structures, or yeah, okay, yeah, that's all the shit I like.
It's basically protect the lab until the lab is able to build up enough breakthroughs to essentially turn the monster off. But all the buildings around you, the way they work is the monster will always... The Into the Breach part is that the monster will always attack the nearest structure.
Okay.
No matter where they are, they will 100% always attack the nearest structure. If they are equidistant between two structures, you'll actually see little percentage markers on each space. So if they're equidistant between two, it'll have like 75% that they'll be here and here, then 50%, and so on and so forth.
There's odds. Okay.
Yeah. And then once they destroy a structure that's not like a lab, it removes that structure from your economy phase. So the way the phases work is you start up and all the existing buildings give you cash to buy units.
In order, okay.
And then, so you're managing the amount of cash you have to buy units. You're managing little cards that show up to give you buffs.
How many
you're
units?
Managing these as like a ton, like 8 to 10.
Okay.
If you really flood the map.
Oh, okay.
But units die like instantly upon contact with the kaiju. They're there to slow it down exclusively.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
It's really cool. Yeah, it also has a really super intense like neon pink art style.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I see the aesthetic is absolutely on point.
It also has, and this is a weird thing to compliment, it has one of the best main menus I've ever seen ever, because you're in like a control room and there's like 10 TVs in the background and they're showing off like footage of kaiju, like live action footage of kaiju, and they're showing off fake news reports and shit like that. And if you click on one of the live action bits of kaiju, it zooms in and tells you, well, this is actually a public domain kaiju movie from the 50s.
Okay.
And then when you click on it again, it opens up the YouTube link to the entire fucking movie.
Oh,
if you still want to watch this old kaiju movie from the 50s or 60s.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
It's really cool. It's definitely like a labor of love kind of thing. All right, moving on from that. Man, Wooly, what's the difference between a ripoff and an homage?
Almost nothing.
Okay.
The feeling in your heart when you do it.
Because I played a game called Nightmare of Decay, which sits right on that fucking line. It is an indie game made by one person. It is a Resident Evil 1 and 4 send-up. It is a first-person shooter made in Unity that looks like the RE1 mansion and plays like the RE1 mansion and has zombies like the RE1 mansion and is basically like a little Resident Evil 1 fan game, except every NPC is a Silent Hill character. Like obviously, clearly. and one of the bosses is the butcher from Diablo who yells out "Ooh, fresh meat" when he comes. Like
Okay.
it is a
Okay.
bunch of shit just slapped together.
Someone's having fun with the toys in the toy box.
Yeah, and this would be hilarious if not for the fact that it's actually really good.
Okay.
It's actually a really, really genuinely great little horror game. But it feels like a almost Tarantino level of like, did you like that in that movie? Right? So like, for example, there's a little puzzle where you would go and put a crown on a little statue, and it's in a big wide open room with 4 suspicious suits of armor that are flanking you.
Mm-hmm.
And the instant you pop them down, sure enough, they come alive, and it's a boss fight. And it's the exact same fight from Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, like it's people will go really hard. Like people will, a lot of programmers and game devs will cut their teeth on just a massive homage to the things they love, you know, and like learn how to program by just kind of recreating the things they know really well.
Mhm.
And when you look at like how in depth some fan projects can go, it's like there are people that are willing to put the amount of effort that you would put into an indie game fully into just a send up to the things they love, and like fuck you, you can't tell me otherwise. I guess if it's not trying to like again, it's the feeling in your heart is the only difference.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing you've got, you know.
Well, it's
between the
good.
two. So
Like one of the bosses,
Yeah.
like a dying man tells you, "Hey man, be careful, run from the beast. It's impossible." And then you pick up a key item and you turn around and some monstrous shadow comes across, and it's a bunny rabbit. And then the bunny rabbit's eyes glow red and get really big fucking teeth and becomes a legitimately very difficult boss fight.
okay.
And you're like, "Oh, okay." Um, yeah, it's as a first project, it's really, really great, and it's also dirt cheap. It's like $4. It's called Nightmare of Decay.
It's their creator's first project.
I believe so. Yeah.
Then that makes perfect sense. Then this is exactly the type of thing you see as a first project very often.
And I want to give them like a little golf clap for like, hey, you really wanted to make a Resident Evil fan game. Congratulations on being smart enough to not call it Resident Evil Afterlife or whatever, and instead making your own goddamn game so that it's yours.
Ever so slightly, but it's still there. Yeah.
Like, good for you. It's so depressing when you see people make games that could absolutely just be their own thing, and they're like, "But it's got to be Mario. It's got to be Master Chief."
Can't resist the urge. It's so tempting. It's just like I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love the thing that much. It's not a conversation.
Just call him Master Chef. Just call him Master Chef and just have him shoot spaghettis.
You know, as the shut the fuck up guy, every time something pops up on the internet, like I get sent, you know, the story about the fan game right away, and it's infinitely the same story, but again, the part that's saying, hey, like, don't do that thing, is yelling at the same passion that is behind the game's existence to begin with, you know.
Oh yeah, Master Chef is also trademarked, somebody points out. Well, then call him Hasty Chef. There, done. Done. Nailed it. All right. I also started playing.
I mean, literally, John Halo is not actually a title that you can't
you're
use.
right. You
can literally just use John Halo, and that's allowed.
Yeah, you could use John Halo and have him fucking fuck some evil spy in front of his AI girlfriend and Doom Reach if you wanted to make your shitty fan fiction. That show's a train wreck.
I don't know what's happening.
I just told you.
Okay.
What the fuck are they doing? Anyway, moving on. I I started
about
playing
Perlman?
Somnium. What's that?
Never mind.
I started playing Somnium Files again. Man,
Oh,
that game.
I as in I, but love, but also the robot, but also
Wooly.
the
It's
name.
so much worse than I thought. It's so much worse than I thought.
See,
You meet a character.
Is that a Strand game? Is AI the Somnium Files the second Strand game?
It's out of control. It's
Okay.
out of control.
Yeah.
It is like you run into a character and they're like, "Hey, what's your real name?" Iris.
Oh my god.
And then you're standing near a horse. You're standing near a horse, and she's like, "Huh? Maybe the murder was a ritual killing because there's a horse, and that's like Horus, and he's the brother to Isis, which means which has the eye of Horus because characters in the story are doing it like out loud."
I've gotten shit over this type of making fun of this type of shit where it's just like, Wooly White, what's the problem with puns? It's fine, whatever. And it's like, no, because like that particular style of pun you just said, like I, all the 5 or 6 different interpretations of that is like, okay, it's the same thing of like the Strand fascination where you're gonna see like language links that basically are connections being made by like a non-native speaker, like I said last time.
Yeah.
And horse and Horus is not something anyone is going to connect because they sound alike, because sound-alikes are not really a thing in English. Like if you go for a pun, it's often going to sound the exact same, not sound alike.
I have to give it a round of applause because the localization is genuinely excellent, but you run into what I'm going to call untranslatable humor. Like untranslatable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Metal Gear has a lot of that. A lot of just bizarre phrasing. And you're like, but why did they say it like that? It's like, oh, because it was translated from this and they wanted to keep it a certain way. Mm-hmm. So the one that kicked me in the gut was like you're constantly talking to your eye, whose name is Iba, because she's your partner.
Of course.
And she's an AI who lives in your eye, and she's your Ibo. And you click on a locker, and your character goes, that's a rocker. Sorry, that's a locker. And she goes, oh, like what? Like progressive or like new metal?
Exactly.
And he goes, no, it's a locker.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I don't know what they're. Wait, is she thinking he said rocker because it's a locker?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what?
Because you switched over to the L's and the R's, and you know we make those mistakes all the time. So it wouldn't. No, we don't. Yeah. So there's a line that Kefka drops at one point where he's like, "There's a reason why oppose rhymes with dispose," and I'm like, "Oh man, yeah, that's the transliteration right there. Like you couldn't." There was no way to rewrite that one into a way that sounded like it. Anyway, it's like that type of observation is not something that anyone really does in English. That sounds like a particularly Japanese line.
Yeah. So on top of that, I will say the writing is actually like really, really super interesting. Mm-hmm. It's the same people that did same writer at the very least who did 999 and VLR and like the Nonary games, and you could definitely tell because it has that like I feel like it's a Japanese style of writing, but like maybe that's just my encounter it of like blah 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 mystery. Someone used this name. Hey, did you know that name is actually derived from this, and and then we're just gonna talk about this now, like almost JoJo style, like tangential dialogue about nothing. But it's fun and it's interesting and it's charming. In particular, there's a very, very early game moment, like within the first hour of the game, in which you encounter a character and cannot get him to tell you what you need to know, so that you hack his computer and discover that, one, he's an Idol fanboy. He's crazy. He's obsessed. He's obsessed with this idol who plays games on the internet, particularly Minecraft. I mean, Shovel Forge.
Sure.
And you get into his laptop and discover that he's running 4 simultaneous Twitter accounts, one of which is defending her, and the other 3 are sock puppeting and trolling her. And the game is using the word sock puppet, and you use it to blackmail him in front of her. And I'm just like,
on point.
Like,
yeah,
it's dead on.
Yeah, okay.
Like I this exact horrible scumbag is being fully realized so excellently.
That's pretty solid.
That game's great. And man, in terms of streaming, visual novels are tough unless they got that voice acting like Somnium Files does, at which point the difference between fucking Phoenix Wright and Disco Elysium is a chasm. I feel like everyone has sat down and gone, I'm gonna stream or LP or record Phoenix Wright by myself. And then they get to the end of the first case and they're like, I am no longer going to do that.
Yep.
I did it. Paige did it. I'm sure you did it.
As someone I haven't gone through those games, and I want to because I know how good they are. The desire is there, but yeah, that is an LP. That is an LP killer.
It's just so much. Every chapter in Somnium Files is a Japanese word that ends with AI, and the AI is capitalized. And the murder victims are all missing their eyes.
Yeah,
I bet it has some, and the killer is called the Cyclops Killer because he's got an eye.
So again, I can only stare at these Strand games and like laugh at the ridiculousness, but I have to know, like, I'm like, when you're playing this in Japanese, does it just land as clever? Do puns land as clever?
Puns have a different denotation in English and Japanese. Like, Shakespeare thought puns were the highest form of wit. Right?
Right.
But for whatever reason, over time in English, puns have fallen out of favor. They have not fallen out of favor in Japan. Japan loves puns. When you play a lot of video games, you know Japan loves puns.
Right. But we will take puns in the realm of like a self-aware silly dad joke moment, but like when it's a dead serious conversation that 2 characters are having about, Mario and Princess Peach, like, it's not meant to be a joke there. So I have to assume that to the person who created this scene, it's actually a cool, clever thing. It must read that way.
I wouldn't call it clever in Somnium. I would call it goofy. The whole game is goofy. Like, it's going for this really, really intense, like, murder mystery. And then you go down to the computer lab and meet Pewter, who looks like a goddamn Pokemon doctor.
Yeah.
And then I find out that he is, because the character designer for Somnium Files designed all the characters for Pokemon Go. And the reason why his name is Pewter is because he's the computer guy.
And like the stone as well. It's both.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then, on level of characterization, you're like, haha, that's hilarious. But then you start rifling through his desk, and you're like, wow, all the books in the computer lab that you would think are like diagnostic manuals just nothing but gay porn manga. Nothing but.
Okay.
Like every single book. Like, okay, sure. Gets boring down here in the lab, huh?
Did you find yourself learning about propagnosia or
No, not yet.
No,
But I'll get there.
Ice
I'll
Nine.
get there.
Yeah. Okay.
I think one of the funniest ones is like they mentioned that a former serial killer was called the Cyclops Killer, and because the game was written for a Japanese audience, your AI robot takes you on a tangent and goes, "This is what a Cyclops looks like," and pulls up like a diagram of a Cyclops and explains that they're a Greek monster. That I'm like, oh right, like. I know what a fucking Cyclops is. It's one of the most common monsters ever. But maybe this audience, it's not as common to know what the goddamn Grecian Cyclops is.
Make no mistake, though, that other aspect of these games where you're wandering off and learning about God knows what because you're going on a JoJo tangent as you described, is what made you fall in love with Metal Gear when the fucking DARPA chief sat there and talked to you about when they talked to you about Muff. Not the DARPA chief, when Kenneth Baker,
the president of Armstech,
Kenneth Baker is going on about Muff, and then it cuts to live action footage, and you're going, whoa, what? Why am I looking at live action footage and real war
about nuclear material
unaccounted for? And like that is exactly what buys you in that moment because you've never had that experience in a game before.
I'm gonna give the all-time greatest use of seemingly completely extracurricular knowledge in a game to 999, a game which is obviously based around a number game. It's called the nonary game, which means the game of nines, in which you're hanging out with what appears to be a stripper in a fucking kitchen, and she just turns to you and goes, "Hey, do you know how base 12 math works?" And you go, no. And they go, all right, let's explain how base 12 math works.
Yep.
And it ends up being really important.
You know, any sane creator would want to they'd want to establish their world by having you flip through the TV channels as things get worse, by showing you a couple of news clips and then World War Z intro type of thing, and then you eventually fade into where we are today. However, Kojima will film entire channels that have 10 minutes plus running material.
You can't see most of it.
And like they're all playing simultaneously, and you can sit and watch like David Hayter sitting there and doing like a full interview. You know,
you know what? I'm just thinking about how much I love the type of story we're talking about, because I'm thinking back to Virtue's Last Reward, in which within the first 20 minutes of a game, a character grabs you by the shoulders like, "Have you ever heard of the logic problem called the prisoner's dilemma?" Well, you see, the prisoner's dilemma works like this. And just like a game that's like, hey,
so
this is the theme.
Danganronpa goes hard on that as well. Every single chapter, case, and murder always has a moment of like, have you heard of some weird obtuse thing that is hyper relevant to this one specific case? Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing what Somnium's files is, because right now the core conceit is, did you know that humans have eyes? Which I don't think that's the theme. I don't think the theme is that people have eyes.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
The mystery is engaging. The part where you solve the little puzzle is both fascinating and dreamlike and engaging and weird, but also there's two ways to solve every puzzle, and depending on which way you solve it, you get a different clue, which will lead you down one of your different branching paths. So it more cleanly builds into the way a path would branch, rather than I decided to go left instead of right. It's like, well, no, I found the clue that was these photos of this event, or I found the memory of this thing, so then I followed the investigation in a different direction. And lucky me, the sequel's coming out in 45 days. So here's hoping that goes well. I also want to say, and this makes me sad, because streaming mystery games is terrifying. Right? You've had this moment. You played Disco Elysium.
Have you heard of MLK?
I have. Streaming a game that has a mystery is kind of terrifying, because people in the chat could just go, "Wah!" Right?
Yeah.
My experience with Somnium Files was that everybody was chill, and most people were just genuinely curious. And the reason why that is because the game's not popular.
Okay. So everyone's along for the ride with you.
Like 99% of the people in my chat were like, "Oh, what? What?"
Yeah.
And the 10 people that knew what was going on knew well enough to shut up. And it's like, wow, this sucks, because the reason why I'm having an easy time is because the game didn't sell gangbusters.
And people aren't coming in to overexcitedly ruin it for you.
Whereas like Disco Elysium had like a really small amount of time where it was shit hot, but no one had beaten it yet. And then it became fucking molten hot, fucking excellent, and everyone knew what it was right? And like our LPs that were simultaneous got to experience that, where I basically just barely hit the finish line before it hit pop culture in the chat, and then you didn't, and people started being like complete pieces of fucking shit.
Yep.
And it's why like I believe you had a much easier time with 13 Sentinels, because 13 Sentinels is a game that we had to go, "Hey everybody, you should really try and check out 13 Sentinels. It's cool. It's good. You should try it."
But also, like, it was full lockdown.
Oh, you were full lockdown with 13 Sentinels?
I went full lockdown, and a message on screen the entire time during the stream that was like, "Yeah, I'm not reading anything. I'm not acknowledging anything.
Okay.
It's not worth it. This game it relies too much on that journey for me to risk it."
It's just this sad thing, because like I'm sitting there and I'm investigating a murder scene in this story, and I'm putting down the weight of the victim and trying to figure out how they could have been snuck into the room via an elevator that has a weight limit, right? Stuff like this. And I'm looking over to my chat, and people are like doing math, and like, well, if he did this, and like they're genuine like pontifications. They're not like smug fucking gray smiley face piece of shit.
Gray
like
face.
Maybe that'd be possible. And it's like, oh wow, when everyone is cool, this is a great experience. It's a shame it's so difficult to have everyone be cool.
I had a touch of that with something I played this week, but I'll get back to it once you're...
Well, that's pretty much it for me. If you want to see more Somnium Files and Bioshock and the other crap, you go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt, and I'll be streaming at 4 p.m. West Coast time, 7 p.m. East Coast time.
There you go. Over on my side, played a couple things, but yeah, a friend of mine who was... Actually, I think you might have met him some years ago. I don't know if you remember Nadim. Name
doesn't ring a bell. But...
Okay. Well, anyway, really cool guy. and like he's been like in like he's been doing a lot and achieving much in the world of computer tech and academia and stuff, and he also worked on a lot of like encryption programming and things like that. Like really smart guy. But has a game coming out basically called Dr. Kobuishi's Labyrinthine Laboratory, and just decided to take a crack at making a game. And it looks, and it like the sprites are on point, the music's on point, and it's a lot of fun. So he put out a demo.
Can you spell that? Because I just tried to look it up and botched the spelling.
Dr space Kobuishi, and then it should show up.
Here we go.
Yeah. And so it's just a simple puzzle game that has a little like format to the like a grid system. Maybe it's like I don't know how many tiles are in each puzzle room, but you have that, and then you have a side sort of panel that acts almost like a permanent codec screen, where the given like boss of an area will just be taunting you and talking shit the entire time while you're trying to solve the puzzle. And there's like a Baba is you element to, like, you know, make the right steps, move in the right direction. Stepping out of place and doing the wrong thing and pushing the wrong thing in the wrong place means you can't progress. And yeah, very classic like puzzle game style.
It sounds familiar to like Dr. Brain's Castle or something like that, if you remember that fucking thing.
I don't, but
that was an ancient puzzle game that you could play in like your fucking grade 3 computer, like way back in the day. It was a DOS game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at some of this Sam & Max-esque art here. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, and so you just kind of like you're, you know, moving around, and it's again very simple. Just certain tiles, once you step on them, they fall through. Other things you got to push in place and whatnot. And
like Squid Game.
Sure. And once you do like the first 2 levels, immediately like the 3rd level is like, okay, step it the fuck up. Every time you step forward on 1 tile, an enemy will move forward by 2 tiles. Make it to the exit across the map somehow, despite the fact that this thing moves twice as fast as you do.
Figure it out.
Right? And so now you got to play these little like chess pre-planned, like, oh shit, if I go left, there's a barrier there, and it moves a certain way, and then it like immediately starts to get challenging. Like there's no chill on the difficulty escalation. I want to say by puzzle 6, like it was like I'm sitting there with Reggie and we're just sweating, you know, at the like 30-step sequence that you have to internalize and play out in perfect sequence, because every time you take a step, the enemies will move a certain way and change your threat, you know, odds and such. So yeah, no, it just got fucking hard, and like, but we got to I think 10 and then stopped, and we're just like, okay, got it. Brain is hurting in the Baba is you way, very quickly.
Oh no.
But since it got so challenging so quickly, like with Baba is you, I remember there was always you get to a level and you see a bunch of people go, oh, it's this one, you know.
I'm just thinking of, there were so many GDC talks and so many dev talks about, like, you know, the good particularly Portal 2 or something like that. It's like, you know, the trick with a good puzzle game is to make the player feel smart when they solve the puzzle. And I'm like, that doesn't feel like the current era of puzzle games.
No.
Because every time I solve a puzzle in anything current, I just go, why am I so fucking stupid? It was so obvious. God damn it.
It is an anxiety release. It is not elation. You return to 0 when you complete these puzzle stages. You don't go to, you know, up to a 10 or a 20. And yeah, like in this case, because again, new game, new experience, we're all seeing it for the first time. People were staring at it going like, I can't track. Oh God, I'm out. I can't. I give up, you know? But yeah, no, it was pretty fun. And, yeah, I'm you know, happy that, he's working on such a cool thing. So, for Baba is you headache vibes, if you want to invite that world into your life again, Yeah, check out Dr. Kobuishi's Labyrinthine Laboratory. Not to mention again, music and sprite art and pixels are just fucking awesome, crisp, really, really nice looking. Very classic. And another game we checked out this week. It's just a demo, but I think the full thing's coming at some point. It's called Sklash.
Sklash?
Sclash. And it fits into it's kind of like One Strike, which was like a one-hit fighting game. There was another one called Ki Resonance, where essentially it's a fighting game where you have a sword that one hit kills you, and then you've got a couple of defensive options for movement, parrying.
And you gotta provide links to these, because I typed in Sklash and got some fucking Got Skills Win Cash, India's very own real cash skill-based gaming platform.
Oh god,
Splash.
and then there's the Kamen Rider belt. So that's not gonna work. Okay, so it's not the Kamen Rider belt, and it's not that. It's the thing that looks kind of like Samurai Champloo.
Okay.
I think if you type /game.
Yeah, that's how I got
No, that didn't work either. Okay,
Dude.
boy.
SEO.
Oh,
Optimize
boy.
that search engine results, man.
Even typing /Steam. Oh, man.
Dude, it's tough. It's tough out there.
Okay, well, it's the result that has the orange and yellow background with the samurai that's basically doing the Samurai Champloo thing. Right?
Oh, I see it now. I sees it.
Yeah. It's that game.
You gotta type it into Steam. The developer is Bevel Bakery.
So it's pretty cool. The art styles is very nice, kind of moody samurai game, and yeah, your buttons are forward, back, slash, attack, charge to do a hard one that guard breaks. Although there's no guard per se, there's a parry, there's a dash, and there's a pommel strike, which like staggers you for a moment. And then you have a stamina meter, so you can only do 4 actions before you have to wait. And so a lot of this, as the basic fundamental game, plus a ton of style and juice. Every time you like parry something or pommel strike or dash up to someone, there's like a dramatic slowdown. Every time you land a hit, there's like a big like sort of like kind of samurai puts the sword away moment. It's just a super stylish, footsie based samurai game.
Hey kids, if you want one Woolly Versus to check out your game, you might think about adding some more juice.
Juice.
You
Yes.
love the juice. You
Yep.
love it. It's one of your favorite, like, man, I was playing this game and it's just got so much juice.
It fucking works.
important.
It is.
It's important to have juice.
There's a great GDC talk about adding juice to your game. And
Yeah.
live on stage, the folks doing the talk, they show you a game of Arkanoid, and then they just start adding juice to it on the stage. And then by the end, you're like, oh shit, yeah, look at each of these things. Little sounds, little colors, little,
There was an
bim, bam, boom.
entire genre of games in like the PSP Vita era where they're like, what if you took Space Invaders and just kept it Space Invaders and just juiced it as far as it'll fucking go?
Add that
every
juice.
single one of those games was awesome.
Yep.
With the king, of course, being Pac-Man Champ DX.
Exactly. Pac-Man Champ DX and Geometry Wars are so basic in their gameplay, but they're juiced to high fucking heaven, and you love it. Tetris Effect is Tetris, but juiced up.
Ooh, we got new data! We got new diversity chart data!
Shut the fuck up.
We got new numbers. We have a tweet from Stephen Totillo describing a problem emerged. The criteria is subjective. Compare endpoint Overwatch hero Lucio's chart from GDC 2017 and the one we saw last week in which his ethnicity score went down over time.
Wait. The numbers are dynamic?
I don't know. But whoever was grading Lucio in 2017 gave him a higher score, and his ethnicity is near the top. It looks like an 8 or 9.
Oh, shit! I got buffed!
No, that's the old one. The new numbers, you got nerfed.
Oh, wait, but you said it was black as a 3.
Yeah, now.
Oh, it used to be higher.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nerf. That was a post-patch number.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. No. Oh, they nerfed black? Why would you nerf black? Come on. We need it. We needed it. Don't nerf black. Our kit needs it. Come on, man.
Every single like number or picture that ever comes out, like leaks out or drips out on this is just gonna be like a whole new day.
Yo, let's go, Steven. Show us the metrics, man.
Find it. Someone. Please.
Okay.
Oh.
Looked into the diversity tool, began years ago. Inspired by Sarkeesian's work early on.
Posted about it to shareholders in 2021.
Tried to keep the numbers. Early on, people on the project tried to keep the numbers out of it. Activision boasted about it to shareholders.
No, it's got to have a number. It's got to have a number. It's got to have a number.
Oh,
gotta have a number.
Oh, they tried.
This means you, if someone has access to shareholder minutes, they'll be able to go back and get the minutes on that shareholder meeting and find out what the fuck they were bragging about exactly.
Oh my god. Wow. Okay.
Oh.
It's because like I said, that halfway point where you're like, okay, if you need a checkbox to say we have a black person, we have a Polish person, right?
You know
then
what?
You can check that box, but then they had to build on it. They had to iterate.
So this reminds me of my favorite Star Trek story, as well as one of my favorite quotes about somebody who's trying their best but just isn't quite there. You know that emotion?
Okay.
So when Gene Roddenberry was doing interviews about Star Trek back in the 60s, right? Good old ass regular fucking original series Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry wanted a vision of the future in which people had overcome their differences, and Star Trek is a genuinely hopeful view of the future, at least for Earth, right? So Gene is describing, listen, that's why we have a multicultural, I don't know if he used the word, but we have a lot of different types of people on the front of the Enterprise, right? We have a Russian, we have an American, we have a Japanese, and we even have a black on the front of the ship. Yeah. And you're like Gene, you're really trying so hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying so hard, and at the same time, you're mandating all the female outfits to have like super short mini skirts so you can try and sleep with every actress on set because you're a consummate cheat on your wife. And you hate gay people and mandated that in the future gayness would be solved.
Okay, well,
that's why there's no gay people in Star Trek. But you're trying. You're trying.
Incremental progress. Yeah. Oh boy! Wow, wow. I'm very excited for the evolving story here.
Oh, it's
Tracing it back in time and making sense of it. That's really interesting.
So the part that kills me is in the Anna screenshot. You can see that it is in fact a tool. It is a program. It has drop-down bars, right? I want it.
Mm-hmm.
I want the tool on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I want it.
Man. They tried to keep the numbers out, but but they posted to shareholders that they love the numbers.
That sucks so bad. Don't put a number on it. Don't put a number on it. Don't. Don't. And then some fucking weirdo in a suit goes, but what if we did put a number on it? We could get a score. And
because
like,
we can't. It's like we're not just being inclusive according to the robot. We're being the most inclusive, and we can prove
we can
it.
even apply the tool. If we have numbers, we can show how other people's games aren't inclusive.
Exactly. Overall score. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
that's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad there's updates. Shout outs to the post podcast day news drop. Can't wait for it this time.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. Sklash is good. Kobaishi's is good. Should be wrapping up FF6. We're gonna have to move the schedule around this week, by the way, just to let everybody know. Wednesday I gotta take off. I have some things to do, so gonna see if we can't massage it and do one Elden, one FF6. But yeah, we should be approaching, I think, the last session or so. Maybe two, but probably one. The end game RNG has been wild. Getting some of that final gear has been, I mean, like I thought I was talking about like the grinding out to get certain sets in Elden Ring, and like some of the stuff in this has been surpassing that for sure. It ain't easy decursing a shield or running into a death gaze or getting a Celestiad. It's kind of nuts. But anyway, yeah, that's going good.
I hate to bring it back, but I've been informed that we missed something important in that thread that Totillo posted. He described an example of how the tool was working.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So you're going to want to click through on that. It's a game called...
Oh, yeah. Okay. No.
African
I did scroll past it, and I didn't click as we were going on. But yes, there's a game that they made called African Rainmaker. And this was used to present how embarrassed they were and that they had to deactivate this game. Oh my god! Oh no! No! Oh no! Oh! Oh, King! Oh no, King! No. Ooh, boy. Okay. Yes.
So this
Candy Crush
shows off,
right?
This shows off that at some point somebody walked in the room and saw this and goes, something in this fucking office needs to change.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, and Like they're in Amsterdam, right? Because I feel like we went.
I feel like this.
I
Yes.
think I feel like I walked by their office when I was there.
They have a one of them Bork accents.
So for the listener, this game called African Rainmaker from King, seeing as, you know, before these mergings and acquisitions, King was the Candy Crush folks. They have a puzzle game in which just a full-on like African like mask and like the garb and the earrings and the all of it real bad, real bad is the main character, and collecting gems, doing the puzzle game thing.
And you know what they said?
Ooh.
They said, we need a robot to tell the people in this office not to do that.
Oh boy. Oh man. Like straight up like World War I to II era animation, you know, the old Disney shit. Like, oh wow. Okay, we need the numbers. We need the numbers. You can't, like, if you don't have the numbers, how do we know not to do this? You don't understand, guys. If we don't have the numbers, will tell us how far this goes on the chart. Oh, King. Oh, wow. Yeah, I just didn't click on it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Amazing.
And the article specifies that it's a King thing, right? Like it specifies their push, like not necessarily the oh god, like the other company names that would be attached to that. It's the oh god. Okay. Yeah. All right.
This is great. This is the best story ever.
This story continues to develop.
Like actively, minute by minute. Hey, before we leave our weeks, did you play any of Sifu's Master Mode?
No.
It's great. The way that it acts is as if level 1 is now level 6. And like the difficulty curve just keeps going.
Okay.
After normal. Fajar kicked my fucking ass.
Oh wow. Okay.
It is amazing how much harder you can make those bosses if you have them throw in sweeps just a little bit more often.
And you have your New Game Plus toolkit?
Nope. Start a new game.
From scratch, okay.
And the other thing is that enemies, you know the typical Hong Kong action thing of the enemies kind of come at you one at a time?
Mm-hmm.
No more of that.
Horde.
They're going to come at you when they feel like it.
Yeah,
and you're going to have to just deal with the way the enemies work.
Interesting.
It's great. I'm having a lot of trouble with it, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm having just as much trouble with the hard mode after platinuming the normal game as I had platinuming the normal game.
So the staggering moves and the iframe moves are going to have way higher
utility.
Oh,
they're good now. They're so good now.
Now you need them. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So that's going down, and then Elden Ring is continuing, having a good time with that, of course.
Where you at?
Went back. Went to Nokron, cleared out Nokron.
Yeah.
It was impossible to not have heard in advance about Mimic Tier, so that wasn't much of a surprise.
It's literally the most popular item in the entire game.
It's the people were talking about it from day one, so I heard about that existing, so got that. I heard though that in the cut content there was supposed to be a quest where it followed you for a while and then learned to do that as a payoff. That sounds awesome. That sucks that got cut.
What's fascinating is that the Mimic Tier is a boss fight that has like maybe the highest variability of difficulty of any fight in the entire game, because I steamrolled it, and other people had builds that the AI could use very effectively against themselves.
So I was able, my AI is doing a whole lot of two-handed punching and a whole lot of Terra Magica. For some reason, it keeps casting Terra Magica, which I don't know why, but I'm like, if you're on my side, I'll just stand here and use the magic. Like, I don't mind.
So using Mimic Tier has so many fun little like pieces to it. It's one of the most fun things in the game because I don't know if you picked it up or somebody told you, the way Mimic Tier works is it copies you perfectly the instant you summon it.
Yes, including your inventory bar.
Including your inventory, including what spells you have equipped, including whatever. So if it uses something a little too much, you pull that off your bar. You can equip the Shabriri's Woe to make it a tank. You can force it to use shields. You can do all sorts of shit.
So I noticed, basically, not even intentionally, I put the perfume that tanks a hit. I put that on my bar because I wanted to just have it there to test it out because I hadn't been using perfumes. Because finally, now that I got to Nocron, I got the ingredient that lets me mix it. And so I put it on my bar, summon the tier, and now the tier puts a shield on me like a perfumer. Yeah. You know? So it's like, oh my god, this is very exploitable if you give yourself tools that are like the best ones that you want it to always use.
Yeah, no, it works in every direction. There were times where I put like all ranged spells on it, and so all it would do was spam ranged spells. There's a couple bosses where I pulled every spell off because I wanted it to just run in and start swinging. Like it's a crazy awesome feature in a Souls game. It's one of my favorite things in the whole game. I mean, and they can nerf it as much as they want. It's still the best one.
It feels like you get it with so little fanfare for how big of a deal it is, you know?
It's so good. They nerfed it like twice, and it's still so good.
Like, I expected that to be, you know, the end of a quest line with a lot of build up for, you know, I expected so much to that, and it kind of just like, here you go. And like, the mechanics of it, it feels like you could create a separate pause screen to go in and, you know, tweak and customize it if you wanted to. Like, it could be, it's, you know, it's great. So, feels busted out the gate, and probably will be. But anyway, so yeah, I got to that, and then I fucking rode the coffin upstream, and basically, like, I'm walking around that area looking for Blythe. So. Good times.
That's a great part of the game. That's probably my favorite part of the game. It's excellent.
And I went back and I watched that story trailer that I avoided on launch. So now I have all the context that I was missing, and things make a lot more sense.
I love in the original trailer, you see Millennia and Radon squaring off, and you're like, oh, who's this big evil guy squaring off against the heroine? And then every single thing you learn, like, oh no, Radon's the best!
He's the coolest.
Fuck this toxic bitch! She made the shittiest zone in the game on purpose!
Well, I don't know enough about her yet, but he's a fucking champ. He's a champ. Yeah. And then also the selling stuff, too, which is like, finally, let's get some int payoff here. So that's a good time. I will... Yeah, so I'll be playing Elden Ring on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be off. And then Thursday will be FF6. And then it'll be a new week. And, well, no, we're going to have some fighting games as well, for sure. So, of course... we're going to be playing... What are we playing this week? I believe... Oh, yeah, Hero Versus. That fighting game that was being developed on mobile and is eventually coming to Steam, where they put a woolly boxer skin in there, and it looks pretty fucking sick. So I'm going to be checking that out.
If you
Um,
don't play a fighting game for 1 week, will you literally die?
I'll take damage. You know. But look, I'm out here like I'm doing what I gotta do. I have to show people why fighting games are cool, and we gotta keep this thing alive. We gotta show off why these games
I'm
are
just
fun.
curious. I'm just
Yeah.
curious. I tried to get into that closed beta for Multiverses. I don't think I'm gonna get in it.
I can't wait for that to come back, man. Yeah, that shit was great. What was I gonna say though? Yeah, so we're gonna play Hero Versus. We also played the karate tournament, that old fucking weird Mitchell Corporation game that was like, it was pretty good, but just like a like rotoscoped Karate Man from like the 80s kind of thing. We played it back in the day on Scrub Lords too. And shit, I forgot. There was something else we're gonna throw in there. Whatever. So tune in on Wooly Versus, and then next week we've got a new slot, and with a new slot comes an opportunity for a new LP. And
That's
y'all,
true.
yep, and folks seem to enjoy finding out a little bit in advance what's going down. So we're on a pretty high profile streak, and I mean, outside of maybe like Mortal Shell, I feel like well, no, that's not true. We keep it mixed up. We did some Silent Hill, then we played some Everhood. We did some Deltarune when it came back, and then we did some of this and that. Anyway, we're all over the place. Whatever. Fuck it. Mass Effect. Let's go.
Oh. Okay, well, you got to do all three. That's the rule. You have to.
So
That's mandatory.
So I've only played one, and Reggie's played none of them. So we can definitely start from scratch on that, and he can have the experience of the first game's journey, and then with 2, I can grab it and take over.
That is perfect, because I ran like I like to think that like sometimes we both do games and like there's too much overlap or whatever, but that's perfect because I wasted so much of my fucking stupid life on Mass Effect, and I went through all 3 of them, and you didn't.
Yeah. So there you go. And if I'm not mistaken, 2 opens up with the ability to basically continue your character or kind of start from scratch. And
I mean, you can continue like the choices and all that, which you probably should, but you can also just like completely remake what they look like,
right,
as well as their class.
yeah. So yeah, since it's new for him and I've done it, he'll do 1, and then I'll pick it up from 2. That should be the good times.
I tell you what, man, going through those games years and years and years and years later, like many years later, I'm like, wow, the war on terror really scared people out in the prairies, huh?
Really?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Like going through it as an adult, you're like, oh wow, this shit's like, oh I didn't get it at all back then.
This is the first time I've ever heard anything referencing that connection.
Just think about weapons of mass destruction every time Commander Shepard gets frustrated with bureaucracy.
Okay. Yeah, so tune in. Wooly Versus, as you know. That's the channel, that's Twitch, that's YouTube. It's a good time. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the news.
Let's do it. Do you have that fucking Sony games list on there?
Back. And
okay.
Which story?
The Sony games list on there?
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that.
That thing sucks.
What? Yeah. Well, in a second. First, let's take a quick word from our sponsors. Did they talk about Blizzard yet? Boy, did we. Anyway, this week podcast is sponsored by Honey. And yeah, Honey is the service that is available to help you save when you're shopping online. Not honey is in the food. Not honey is in the thing that bees make. That's delicious too, though.
You know, I've been making a lot of tea lately. And I accidentally put too much honey in my tea, and the tea tasted bad, and that's a bummer. It reminded me not to use too much honey. A problem I don't have to worry about using Honey the service.
Because you cannot consume savings physically, but you can certainly consume them digitally. Because Honey fills in the promo code chart whenever you're shopping online and finds coupon codes for whatever you're looking for, and then you watch the prices drop once you apply the coupons. It works on tons of your favorite sites, and yeah, once you go to the checkout, you just gotta watch as it finds for whatever discounts are available. So if you're shopping online, you know, whether it's clothing, tech, tons of different brands, gadgets, etc., food even, whatever you're buying online, why not save some money with it? It's pretty easy to use, and it's cash in your pocket. It doesn't just work on your desktop, it also works on your phone as well. You can activate it on iPhone on your Safari to save on the go. So if you don't have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. Do yourself a solid, support the show, and enjoy the savings. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/superbeast. That's joinhoney.com/superbeast. Thanks, Honey.
Thanks, Honey.
All right, that's it for today.
You know what sounds like honey? Money.
Money.
Which you would save using money.
There you go.
Honey.
Yep. Almost got it.
Almost. I tried. Oh, can you excuse me for a second? I need to help somebody get... I know the timing's poor. I need to help somebody with something. Excuse me. Oh, it's fine. We're back.
We're good? We're good? Okay, we're good. All right,
I was going to help the little lady carry something out from the car, but she's strong.
False alarm. Okay, well, so we talked about the diversity chart. We talked about the phrenology, and we've talked about the Raven Software union busting. So, yeah. With that out of the way, let's talk about the PlayStation Classic games that are coming to PS Plus.
Yo, that list fucking sucks.
It's pretty meager for what you'd expect of retro classics, and the thing that I'm wondering about the most is like you're putting out a list of PlayStation classics for all consoles and not a single Metal Gear anywhere on that list.
Not a single Resident Evil.
Not a single RE anywhere on that list.
No Tomb Raider.
It's wild.
No Crash Bandicoot.
So Castlevania is on there, but it's like Lords of Shadow 2.
Oh yeah, that's the Castlevania game everyone wants to play with. PlayStation.
What a strange collection of like, even amongst the third-party stuff, especially, you know, like none of the things you'd expect.
So there's two things to know. One is that's not the full list because Sony is stupid, and two, they say they're going to show off more games in the future, but the games they show off first are the ones they think will make the biggest splash. So I don't think they're hiding any certified classics behind the next announcement.
I mean, intelligent cube is certainly a pick. I'll say that much.
I gotta say, the way Sony is handling this thing is so fucking weird. One, they're like classic games, but it's like 10, and they're like missing a million. And then the other is like, I got contacted by Sony, and they wanted to whitelist me for the new PSN. They contacted me like 3 weeks ago. They're like, "What's your PSN? We're gonna whitelist you." Thank you. And I'm like, "Cool. What is this?" And they're like, "We'll get back to you." And then fucking disappeared.
Okay, well.
And I'm like, "No, what is it?"
I mean, I thought it was going to be a collection of like the brand third party and first party games that are like generally associated with PlayStation the most. And some of that is that because, you know, Ape Escape is on the list and Tekken 2 is on the list. But yeah, like you got Jak and Daxter. I would expect a Sly Cooper. I'd expect Ratchet and Clank, that type of stuff.
No. Fuck you.
BioShock Remastered. Anyway, the other thing is that on the PS3 section, it highlights via streaming. So, are we just stuck only being able to play PS3 games via streaming on current gen?
No one wants to learn how to emulate it. The console's too weird.
Man. MGS4 is fucked forever.
But, to be fair, it's MGS4.
Yeah. But it's like, blow the dust off your thing and plug it in then, you know? Install it, deal with it.
Just don't play MGS4 again.
I disagree. You gotta go back, you gotta experience all of it. I was just today, yesterday, I was just thinking about Ocelot running back and running away from Snake and laughing, and I was having such a good. I had a great chortle to myself, because
I want to thank a gentleman, Sir Lewis, in the chat for echoing my statement perfectly. The YouTube port of MGS4 is good enough for most people.
Yeah, everything coming to PS3 is streaming. So, that's it. DMC HD Collection, Azura's Wrath, Lords of Shadow 2, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2.
Lords of Shadow 2.
Like, a bunch of action games where input latency couldn't matter more.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden is the
Ninja
one
Gaiden,
like,
Devil May Cry.
Wow.
Like,
Ninja
yeah.
Gaiden has you dodging people in like 12 frames. Like, that game's going to be impossible.
It feels like a Nintendo-ish kind of list of, you know, here's a couple things, but But that actually is important to note because the world of backwards compatibility is one that, like, it sucks how much of a thing, how much that's disappeared from the current generational Switches. But it's coming up again in discussions because Nintendo also, on the subject matter, recently had an interview and were discussing the transition to their next console. And essentially they're talking about how it's a major concern that after building up their current user base, to move to a new system and try to start from scratch would be challenging. And that makes sense given the fact that, like, yeah, they're not on the technology cutting edge, right? People are not jumping in to buy a Nintendo console because it's the coolest looking that video games have ever been. So there's a point in the discussion where they actually talk about how back in the day with previous Nintendo consoles, backwards compatibility was much of a bigger thing so that you could keep your user base, you know, that you already had. Yeah. And so going forward with anything, they're looking at transitioning into the next console, but trying to keep the Switch user base in the equation and not just completely
If the
shutting
3DS had not had backwards compatibility, that thing would have crashed and burned for a while. But because it had backwards compatibility with the best handheld console to ever come out ever, no question, the Nintendo DS, yeah. I mean, everybody I knew played DS games on their 3DS for like a year and a half.
And so here's the thing, too. The question of backwards compatibility, like, there is always a matter of, like, well, will the hardware be physically inside of the machine, right? With the PlayStation 2 be inside of early PS3s, but then they got rid of it, you know, and then it was emulated and such. There was a whole discussion about, like, which versions of the hardware can actually support these games. But with a Switch and with an account system and with a list of digital purchases on your account, there is zero reason you couldn't just fucking pop your account on and just have every game that you've already purchased.
And then all you gotta do is call it the new Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, Nintendo would be insane if you had to restart the generation while they're existing in this side pocket place.
Have the games run better. Because, goddamn, are there a ton of Switch games that could really use running just a little better?
Honestly, like, the Switch upgrade that, like, you know, that everyone's been waiting on, the idea of, like, it runs at it runs games at 60 and it runs games undocked the way they look docked.
Dude, I would be happy with it runs games at 30.
Done.
Have you played Age of Calamity?
No, but I've
it's the worst,
dude.
It's
Samurai Showdown, like.
Oh, is Samurai Showdown worse?
Oh god, like that shit hits single digits. It feels at points, man. It's crazy.
I turned on like Age of Calamity, and like the first stage loads you in the Hyrule field, and it's I shit you not running at 12 frames as the first gameplay, and I just laughed and laughed and laughed. Oh man,
I mean, real talk. The fact that emulated Switch games are crisp and beautiful is something Nintendo needs to be able to address. They need to answer that problem. Because you can see demonstrably that it's not the software. You know, that ain't the problem. That shit can look amazing.
Unless you're talking about Fire Emblem Three Houses, at which point it totally is the software.
Oh yeah?
You know why you played that game for a bit. You know why the city sections run like complete garbage? Because they have all 3 versions of the game's storylines loaded in simultaneously on top of one another.
Okay, so just garbage optimization. Yeah. Well, Nintendo, don't, be smart. Like, absolutely. Backwards compatibility is pro-consumer as fuck and is the way it used to be. Certainly. At least for a period of time there. I remember my Game Boy cartridges sticking out of my Advance really weird, but, like, that was a thing.
Yep.
Sure was. And then the slot at the bottom of your DS, upside down. It's kind of weird, but it's there.
It worked.
You see those Resident Evil trailers?
Yeah.
Any thoughts? As the local Resident Evil expert?
I have one thought. And it may... These new Resident Evil Netflix TV shows?
Mm-hmm.
Which are going to take place, one in the near future and one in the far future, have the most unhinged idea ever for a story. I looked it up and found the director / like creator, the guy who came up with the idea for this new series. And these games are adhering to Resident Evil canon. And as somebody who actually knows Resident Evil canon, that is the stupidest idea anyone has ever had in the history of anything. Because Wesker is in the show. He is now black. I forget the actor. Is it it's Lance Reddick?
Is Lance Reddick Wesker? Wait, what?
Is it?
I was about to talk about Lance Reddick and how much I like seeing Lance Reddick be Lance Reddick and everything.
Yeah, it's Lance Reddick. Yeah, it's
oh
Lance
my
Reddick.
God, he's Wesker. Oh wow. Okay, I didn't realize that in the trailers. Oh shit!
So that's
because
I like Lance Reddick.
I love Lance Reddick. I was waiting for you to finish because I was gonna say like I didn't know that like just a drop of Lance Reddick into whatever. I love the guy. He's great. I want to see him do whatever.
Did you
put on the Geordie
Resident
LaForge mask?
Did you play RE5?
Yeah.
Do you remember that part where Wesker gets his head blown off by double rocket launchers in a volcano?
Oh God, the and then yes, the big finale. Mm-hmm.
Well, he got up after that and became a black man.
This takes place after 5. Wait.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. It's not just canon. It takes place after.
It's the future. Yeah.
Oh, what? Wow. Okay, that's weird. Okay.
So he's like, we're not going to go into it, but Wesker survived the volcano. I'm like, shut up!
Okay.
Shut up! What are you talking about?
That's crazy. That's insane.
You're nuts!
The trailer, because there's 2 trailers. The first one was just like, the shots of the zombos. And then the second one was like the corporate dystopia umbrella joy thing, and it's like, oh, the pills are gonna cure all your problems, but they can make you into a monster.
The events of the game are canon, including the part where Umbrella ceases to exist and is now the primary company in this new show.
And they're back to being a normal pharmaceutical company.
It is the most confusing thing.
Oh my God. Like, you're allowed to now pull the move off where you say it's canon after this number, right?
Yeah.
Multiple horror movies have done this where it's like, okay, this is a sequel to part 1. None of the sequels count. Just the first one matters, and now this. You can do that, but if this is coming after 5, what the shit, man?
It's so wild. It's so confusing.
Okay.
I just dropped my key.
Well,
and on top of that, they said, well, the movies aren't canon, so don't worry about that. But we are going to be taking inspiration from them.
Okay, but like, are we in for a straight up like Cedric Daniels teleport gunfight scene?
I don't know.
Is that where we're going?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my God. I
feel very confident that is the stupidest way you could possibly make a game spinoff.
Red eye glow, broken glasses. Damn. Oh boy.
If they actually go through the fucking trouble of saying that Wesker crawled out of the volcano and swapped bodies with a nearby person, and that's why he looks like a different guy, I'm gonna like, I want if you're gonna do this stupid shit, I want a live action flashback of him crawling out of the fucking volcano.
And then soul transferring.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Why not? There's soul transferring in Resident Evil Revelations 2.
It's the
what, you think there isn't? You think there's no soul transfer in Resident Evil? There is.
I'm not. I didn't.
It's a plot point with Alex Wesker.
Okay. The T-virus can't save you, McNulty. Oh, this is the weirdest shit ever. I guess just fuck it. Get on board and see where Lance takes it. Let's see where this goes.
I'm stuck in this weird situation where I actually don't. I did not watch all the Resident Evil CG movies. I did not watch the recent Netflix movie because I'm like, why am I just gonna go and do that and make myself upset? But Lance Reddick fucking owns. So like, I want to see Lance Reddick's fucking
really
Wesker.
Hard. I watching that trailer, I was just like, oh, he's in it. That's fun. Let's see what he'll do. You know. Wow, what a weird world.
We'll see.
And then do you get to like change that in the game canon going forward? No, it's a Netflix series. No. It's yeah. All right.
Okay, let me explain something to you. You know who cares about Resident Evil canon? No one. The developers never, ever, ever did.
Are the CG movies canon?
To themselves.
They fit into the timeline somewhere, right?
No. No.
Yeah. Actually, the correct answer to your question is Susie.
Well, yeah, Susie would know, but as far as I can tell from what I've gone through it, and I've gone through a lot of it, is that nothing is canon to Resident Evil. Here's the state of Resident Evil canon. Okay, in the Umbrella Chronicles companion books that were both put out to codify all the canon in Resident Evil, they changed the word biohazard to Resident Evil via copy paste, and therefore created the Umbrella Resident Evil countermeasure force. And also, half of that shit is now no longer canon. I was streaming RE Revelations 2 this week and was discussing with people in which, like, it's not even clear what characters are even alive in what game. Point. Like, it was always under the assumption that the events of Resident Evil Outbreak didn't happen until one of them wrote a news article in RE7.
There's a year in the trailer. It says 2032, I think. So
yeah, which is nice and past all current games.
You're jumping quite a few years ahead from current day. I'm assuming that's, nothing jumps into the future beyond that in any of the games that we play.
Not yet, anyway. Not yet.
Okay. All right. What a fucking wacky ass franchise. I mean, like,
Resident Evil's plot is the worst. As somebody who has followed it so obsessively for decades, Resident Evil has the worst long-running plot of anything.
But it's really just who cares, evil corporation zombie story. That's it. Like, that's all that matters.
That is the reason.
So once you have those ingredients, who gives a fuck? Like, that's it.
Yeah. The story of the events that are happening in front of you right now, and the drama of, how are we going to get out of this? That's interesting. The overarching meta narrative is the worst.
In the meantime, if you dare imply that Dante drove into hell and took out of the, like, if you dare imply that Dante driving into hell is in the wrong timeline before 5 and you fuck that shit up, you're completely misunderstanding the franchise. How dare you? Like, it's wild how canon timelines and events matter so much more in the complete nonsense that is Devil May Cry, and then the original franchise that was...
They even made the anime canon.
Because it had to... Yeah. The characters from the anime needed to show up and have a place in 5, even for a scene bit.
like people go like, "Hey, where's Rebecca Chambers? We haven't seen Rebecca Chambers in a game in like 18 years." And the answer is like, we don't really like Rebecca.
Dante showing up Dante showing up in fucking SMT in Nocturne needs to have a place in the timeline, and we have to all respect it going forward in the franchise. You know? Anyway, so that's kind of wild. And in the meantime, as Resident Evil tries to get its Netflix thing going,
Again,
Konami coughs up some spiders and dust to DMCA takedown what appears to be a leak for Silent Hill, and it goes hand in hand with the rumors that have recently popped up about Bloober Team possibly working on a new Silent Hill game. Well, there was a Twitter account where some images appeared of what appears to be Silent Hill development stuff, and the fact that it got taken down is, as usual, the ultimate confirmation. The ultimate confirmation that, oh shit, these were probably real.
so here's what we're working with right now. Silent Hill 2 remake being developed by Bloober Team, which if I didn't, might as well just jam this key in my brain. Like just the team that made a horror game in which the lesson was, if people are mentally ill, you can't help them. They might as well just die. Being tasked with remaking Silent Hill 2 might be the worst thing ever.
Not just that, picking the baton up off the ground where PT dropped it.
Yeah.
Continuing from that. It's not just yeah.
We also have a smaller Silent Hill title by Annapurna Interactive, which is supposed to be episodic short stories, which, okay, that might be interesting. Annapurna does interesting stuff. And then, quote, a new mainline Silent Hill game with no developer attached to its rumor.
What a wild franchise, because especially now that I understand it, like the conclusion to an IP that was like the promise of PT and then the murdering of it, like stifled in the crib, fucking, like, it's so nuts because it's the highest promise and the highest level of excitement immediately followed by the lowest low.
Yeah.
If it ended, if that never happened, people would have still had their expectations in the dirt, and it would have been like, okay, whatever, they're churning out another one, so be it, you know? But you will never get over the trauma of, like, such a fucking interesting looking thing from a really cool team of creative people that were going to touch this game and work on it, and then that promise, nothing will live up to that. Like, they're going to forever be in the shadow of PT, and why even bother? You know?
So, we're at a weird nexus here in which Silent Hill has been awful for way longer and way more entries than it was ever good. Like, 1, 2, and 3 are great. 4 is cool. 5, 6, 7, 8, garbage. The comics are terrible. The movies are trash. PT was killed, smothered in the crib, as you described. Shattered Memories is cool. Yeah, you guys are right. But
I like Shattered Memories.
I think it's cool. But, like, the last Silent Hill game that gave that name the respect and the cachet was Silent Hill 3. Dude, that game came out when I was in high school. I'm almost 40. Like, this whole thing just screams like, well, can we make any money off of the name? All right, let's give it a hurrah before we bury it forever.
So yeah, there's also confirmation because Akira Yamaoka said that they were working on something to be announced this summer. So they're picking it up and blowing the dust off, and they're gonna try again. You know.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of horror games that are gonna get announced this summer, ironically. But this is likely going to be one of them.
The screenshots show off like a face that looks like it has, it looks like Rohan's Heaven's Door has ripped it open and is like it's got like, you know,
and it says the phrase "I hate myself" across their forehead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
No need to tattoo damaged on. You can peel it back and see it right there.
Oh man.
You don't even have to tattoo, you know?
God damn it.
Subtle.
You know, there was an argument to be made
Subtlety.
for a while that Silent Hill 2 is at fault for everything wrong with Silent Hill. And I don't typically agree with that sentiment, but there's definitely a little bit of it coming through because Silent Hill was the one that was the most beloved, and it's the one that took the mental illness, like guilt aspect of it, which every single shitty Silent Hill game after it tried to recreate and did so badly, with the only moderate success being Shattered Memories.
No, I mean, I remember upon my completion when we were talking about it, and it was like, yeah, it became clear that, like, the reason why this gets fucked up so often is because the things that were good were how simple and how few moving parts were in those first two, you know? Like, there's so much room for, it's like you're trying to make a recipe that has, like, 3 ingredients to it. You're trying to make a poutine, or like a calabrese salad, you know? Like, you got the 3 things to throw together, and so you think, okay, like, this works because of the balance of how it was done, and then everyone who comes along afterwards goes, tomatoes, cheese, oil, go, all right, and you just keep trying to smush it together in a way that doesn't understand how the balance was originally, you know, used in the first ones and the second one, right? So, that's a shame, man. That's yeah. I'm only starting to, you know, I mean, I've heard it for years, but like looking at it now and looking and going like, oh, it wasn't like a complex masterpiece. It was a simple, well done game. It was it was very simple.
It was definitely more complex compared to its peers at the time of 2001.
But it takes a few elements and it treats them well. It handles the material that's very straightforward. Well, not very straightforward, but it handles very, like, not that complex, you know. It just handles it well. I mean,
I'm not looking forward to that Silent Hill 2 remake.
It's interestingly not that dissimilar to, like, the problem with, like, trying to, like almost like the Sonic problem of, like, it's an old, simple thing that worked. How do we recapture that? Trying to, you know, adding more and, okay, how do we keep some of that feeling?
You know what, Wooly, you know what would be a really good twist? In the final boss fight with Pyramid Head, if Pyramid Head took his helmet off and it was James.
Oh, shit.
Like,
he became the Pyramid Head who is now attacking this new main character that has nothing to do with it. Damn.
It was James. It was James all along. Like,
I mean, you could just come out and say, like, oh yeah, like, those last 8 games were directed by the dog with levers. pulling knobs and pressing buttons behind the scene.
You know what's funny? You couldn't even do that. Because Silent Hill Downpour's joke ending is zany as fuck, but the dog isn't there. So.
Well, anyway. You know what else is funny?
No.
Here, let's
I'm sad now. I'm sad.
Let's cheer up. Let's cheer up. Let's cheer up. I know what'll cheer you up.
You're going to be an asshole, aren't you?
No! I'm going to cheer you up. If you were to load up the Google store right now and then head on over to the gaming tab, you might find yourself in for a surprise. Do you have that?
Hold on. No thanks. Gaming? Games. Yeah, what is it?
Oh, have you updated it?
Yeah, it's, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at Dislight. I'm looking at Destiny Child.
Is your app updated?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently then, this is either happening or going to happen, but the gaming tab that you're currently looking at is going to be removed entirely, effectively burying the Stadia completely.
Oh.
So,
or Stadia.
There is straight up going to be, nothing there in an effort to highlight the Pixel Buds Pro, it says here, apparently. So that's how you cement the actual, the grave and the...
so to me, this is like the last bit of dirt onto it.
Yeah, it was already buried, but it wasn't covered over with dirt yet. And now...
Because I want to say the first one was the day they decided internally to never ever talk about it ever again. Whatever day that happened to be.
Yeah, if you can no longer go to the tab to experience the system, then you're not going to get any new people interested, and anyone who's got it's just going to have to deal.
They ran a lot of ads for Stadia. Do you remember those? Dude,
no, I did not.
It was this dude with big hair screaming at a guy in a Best Buy, going, "The future of gaming, Stadia, get in my space canoe." And then they would fucking go through a portal to see all these cool video games. No console required. It was fucking wild. It was fucking crazy.
Holy shit, Morbius is the Stadia of movies. Morbius fans and Stadians can
apparently
team up.
Morbius Sweep was unironically trending on Twitter earlier today.
We can get a fucking power team when they combine forces, man. The lunatics don't stand a chance.
Well, depends which lunatics. Some lunatics don't stand a chance, and then the other lunatics really don't stand a chance because they're broke.
Yeah. Yeah, no, a little bit of dirt to cover over the coffin. It's officially done. And as I said every other time, could have just been a project, could have just been a Google Labs project. Didn't have to be this way.
Yep. Why not?
All right.
You know, Stadia makes me feel a certain level of not pride. Pride's the wrong word. And satisfaction's the wrong word too. Maybe you'll be able to figure it out. But like, you know, when you follow stuff in this industry for a while, and then you look at something from like a far away distance, right? Like something gets announced and there's no details. It's just an announcement. Mm-hmm. And you're like, wow, that is going to crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
And like a million businessmen and analysts to come through to tell you how great it's going to be, and it sails right past you into the ocean on fire.
Mo crossing the stage.
Yeah.
Into the reject
and
lab.
Vindication, yeah. And you go, okay, yeah, no. It is that easy to tell from a distance.
So
it's
here's the
super
thing.
Easy.
Like I said, this tech is going to come back around, and as there are successful, versions of it, we're going to see someone eventually pull it off. It ain't going to be the Stadia, and it ain't going to be Luna. But
it's going to be Square Enix.
Oh boy. I mean, if Parsec ever partnered up with, anyway, whatever, we'll see what happens. But we have not seen the last of, however, Amazon acquiring a game studio and then them just getting butchered. Like,
oh yeah,
they're gonna find another one that people are excited about and go do that for us for our new thing, and that'll be the end of the things you love. There's always a number that can just take all that whatever passions you have to make your your project. It's like, no, the people, the shareholders, the boardroom is going to take that Amazon number, and that'll be the end of the things you love, and then just follow the credits of the games you like, because still waiting on whatever happened to whatever Double Helix was working on.
You mean the blockbuster Stadia game they were making to turn it all around?
Shout outs to the New World. The New World?
The New World.
New World? Am I getting that right?
Let's see how that's doing. Bad.
How's New World doing?
Bad.
Cool. All right. Let's take some letters.
Oh, hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it down to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. You could write in to ask us about the insane press release Square Enix released detailing their plans for the new studios they're going to make with their new money that they made selling off their old studios.
Wait, beyond the doubling down in NFT game stuff?
Yeah, they said, hey, we made all this money selling those studios. We're going to put that into new studios.
Is that a pivot because in the middle of talking about using the money on crypto stuff, it all started crashing?
There's a tiny, tiny line that says that the new studios will focus on innovative new types of investment, such as crypto, the cloud, and NFT.
Okay, 1 point of obfuscation. Okay, there we go.
What's really going to happen is they're just going to make new studios and then not do that because the market literally, like $1 trillion crash,
is in the process of exploding as we speak. While the ink was drying. Oh, man. Acquisitions. Boy.
Man, Embracer Group fucking with the play of the year.
No, it's like in the elevator, it's like, bro, it's shh, fuck up. On the way down, and then it's as you get into the car, just holding it in.
In that same statement, they actually put forth that Final Fantasy XIV made 25% of the company's gross revenue, which explains why Yoshi P gets to do interviews in which he goes, "No NFTs, that's stupid," while the president of the company is going, "What about them NFTs though?"
Letters. Let's take a couple.
What do we got?
All right, here we got one coming in from Jeffrey, who says, Hello, Super Pair of the Beastly Castle. I'm an avid player of Gundam Battle Operation 2. Recently, we had an odd sequence of balance changes where a particular mobile suit came through the game, the GM Sniper 2 White Dingo. Have you ever had a game where the dev buffed something with good intentions, but it actually wound up making it a nerf?
Pretty rarely.
GM Sniper 2 WD has a beam rifle as its main weapon, and it makes you stop in place to charge and fire it. The way most people who are good with the suit would play is with quick uncharged shots in close range to stagger someone and then keep them locked in a chain stagger between uncharged rifle shots and melee swings.
Sure,
The
that makes
devs
sense.
decided that people were not charging the rifle enough, so they decided to allow players to charge the rifle while moving and then only have to stop in place when actually firing. While this did make people start charging more often, it changed the timing of when the firing shot came out, forcing you to stand in place. They were not as efficient as the two uncharged shots, so as a result, it made aiming incredibly difficult with the rifle, and the change was so bad that it significantly tanked the win rate for the entire suit, so they ran it back 2 months later.
I will say the easiest way to see if a buff can damage a character is any game with bans. So all the MOBers, if you buff a player, so if you buff a unit and you allow people to ban that unit, occasionally you can get into weird situations where heroes have like 99% ban rates. In which
Interesting.
they're functionally nerfed out of the game.
Nobody wants to deal with this ever. It's gone. Yeah.
There was some, I forget what it was, but there was some hero in League that was like completely broken for like 2.5 years, to the point where people just removed it themselves.
Interesting.
You're not gonna play it.
I have my favorite example, and it's go-to, but it was intentional. When
That was it.
When Marvel 3 first came out, a really good team was anyone with Akuma and Wolverine together. Justin Wong would play this team, and basically Jay Wong invented the tech of doing Akuma's Tatsu as an assist, and then with Wolverine, he has a cross-up slash move. So he runs past you. So he either runs up to you and slashes you in the front, or he runs past you and slashes you in the back, right?
Yeah, so you do Akuma's Tatsu, and then they meet and they cross you up and they fuck
Right,
you up,
so
right?
while you're either blocking or getting hit by the Tatsu, Wolverine is running up to you, and you don't know which side he's going to hit you from. And the Tatsu hits you not fast enough. It's like hit, hit, hit. So it's staggered enough that there's a point that it's not a combo, but the hit that he does with the slash will be a 50-50, you know?
Right.
It's a fucking amazing, really hard to block setup, right? It's great. So what would happen, though, is you had to be really good once you landed the hit with confirming into the rest of his combo, launching, and then doing your whole thing. A lot of people who played Wolverine were not that good, and so they would do the cross-up attack and then just mash the button until it connected, and then go, okay, it's hitting, and then like on the third or second one, they'd be like, okay, now I'm going to convert into a full combo. So it essentially gave you like a mix-up, and then you didn't have to have the timing. You could just mash that button out. So when they made Ultimate Marvel 3, they added a new move to Wolverine's arsenal called Swiss Cheese. And what it is Wolverine does a 100 hand slap, like Honda, by doing a bunch of stabs with his claws, and the input is mash attack to get that button out.
There you go. That's great.
So, brand new move.
That's
hey,
great.
cool, right? His arsenal has increased. He's got a new move in his kit, guys.
That's
Why?
great.
Don't worry about it. The first time someone picks Wolverine and tries to do the cross-up and then just starts mashing, they do this fucking shitty 100 hand slap and don't get that combo anymore because you have to tighten up your timing.
That's great. That's great.
Fantastic, right? A nerf in the form of a buff. It's awesome.
You really gotta fuck it up to do that by accident, though.
if you mash more than 3 times.
No. I mean to have like the White Dingo example is like they did not intend to nerf them.
Yes.
That was supposed to be a buff.
Yes. For sure.
Honestly, oftentimes I feel like buffs that actually lead to nerfs in a general case is when the dev goes, well, people are winning with this character by playing them like this, but what we really want is them to play them like that. And then that is technically numerically superior, but is actually much worse.
Yeah. They also, exactly, that's another great example recently is Dan had an infinite in 5 when he first came out with Godokin. And by making it so that there's a chance that one of the Godokins will be strong enough to cause a knockdown, it's a better fireball, but it means your infinite's going to stop at some point. Right?
That's smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
Make people feel like they gained a tool, but that tool's application stops the thing from, being abusable. Okay, let's take one over here.
You know what? I got one for you. Fucking Ember in Warframe got buffed into uselessness. So
okay.
In Warframe, you have a lot of frames that have abilities that are just mass guaranteed AoEs. They're gonna hit. So Equinox has it, Saren has it, stuff where it's just like 100 feet from your character, right? They're gonna be hit with spores, electricity, ambient damage, etc. And with Ember, it's obviously fire, right? So Ember is going to cast her 4, which is a firestorm that goes in every direction, and every enemy within X amount of feet will catch on fire, right? So they were unhappy with how brain dead Ember's kit was, and they wanted to improve Ember's kit by changing some of her abilities to interact a little bit more with each other and do different kinds of damage. And because prior to that, her 4 was the only button that was worth it. All her other abilities were complete trash, and her ability didn't scale well, and it was kind of a gimmick. Well, they redid her whole kit, and they're like, wow, it's way better. Except now her 4 doesn't stun enemies when they catch on fire. So she went from being kind of nichely useful to completely useless. Because the only thing that she had going for her at all
was that
is suddenly gone.
Okay. Huh.
Because if you're doing this with damage, why wouldn't you just use Equinox, who's doing percentile damage? Or Saren, which has a stacking damage buff. Now, I'm sure this has changed recently because people are pointing out that they redid the way elements worked. But upon her kit rework, she went from, this is a niche character that some people really like, to why bother picking this character at all ever? Including people that were big fans of it because they liked how the fact that she stunned people automatically gave them like more breathing room to shoot people, and all of a sudden they couldn't play their character at all the way they wanted to. Like,
yeah.
Warframe is frustrating.
Well, if you have a single purpose character, you have to identify that when you're doing this type of shit.
Well, the problem with Warframe is they have so many frames, and so many of them have ability overlap, and you run into the situation of like, but Saren is just Ember, but better in every way.
Okay.
And then they changed Saren's kit completely, and Saren was even better Ember in every way. Right? And it's like, okay, what are you going to do? I don't know.
I've got one coming in over here from Melody, who says, hey, Pat and Wooly, my friend taught me how to play Mahjong 3 years ago. Really enjoy the interplay between betting and bluffing, the way the game forces you to constantly be thinking about how to fit things together. And I'll never be able to share this with anyone, Mahjong is a 4-player game, 3 if you used modified rules, but who here knows 2 other people that know the rules of Mahjong? I've beaten the Mahjong rewards in Yakuza 0 and 7. I would love to play it in FF14, but that requires matchmaking with other players, and no one in the US both knows how to play Mahjong and would sign up to 14 for the matchmaking.
I know one person who knows how to play Mahjong. And it's a person you may recognize me mentioning over and over as the person I know that knows how to do everything, my friend Vel, who did a brief series of Yakuza streams, which were secretly how to play Mahjong streams.
Wow.
In which he would just beeline to the Mahjong and just play Mahjong the whole time.
Melody saying only getting matches against the AI. There's no reward. Do you have any skills or interests that are a curse because it's pointless and you can never adequately share them with others? I mean, to be honest, you describe a bit of how I feel about Go. I love the board game Go. It's my favorite one, and no one fucking plays Go. You're gonna either jump online and do matches like that, but that's never gonna casually in life be a thing that you're gonna use. So I rarely ever play it.
When I was a teenager in high school, I played ping pong 5 days a week the 5 years that I was in high school. And I absolutely adore ping pong. I'd say I'm probably decent at it. Well, I mean, I haven't played in a decade, but I absolutely adore ping pong. But what are your options for playing ping pong outside of going to high school or college? What, you get a table so you can fucking dominate everyone you know that doesn't play ping pong? Like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna get a ping pong table in the house and then go, hey Paige, you want to play ping pong? And then just smash her into the dirt a couple times and then never play ping pong again?
I know that Reggie and the FGC guys are like, they got into like badminton, and they regularly get together and like go to like a specific court and rent out a place and stuff. You gotta put the effort in to find the people and do it. But yeah, no, there's some of these things are just like, yep, that's it's on your character sheet, but never gonna use it.
The only thing I can do is I have to raise a child and trick them into becoming decent at ping pong so that when I'm older and shittier, I have a kid that I can just beat just enough to keep them interested until I could make them cry when they're older. But that's a lot of work for ping pong.
Yeah, and I mean, well, you said just decent enough, so I assume you're not gonna go for creating. You don't want to, like, you're not going to be the Tiger Woods dad or Richard Williams, where you create the ultimate sport machine.
Yeah, no. So what I learned was the way that my dad taught me to enjoy certain games, which was my dad was like, "Hey, would you like to play backgammon or chess or whatever or pool?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." And he would beat me every single time ever. Just barely. And it was only when I was like in my teens where I'm like, "Dad, would you stop taking it easy on me with pool?" And he's like, "Okay." And I didn't pick up my fucking stick. And then we played a second game in which I didn't pick up my fucking stick. And then I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm never going to play pool with my father ever again."
He broke out Lucille.
Because, like, if he gets to break, I don't get to play.
Yeah.
And if I break, then that's the last time I get to play. Like, I was talking to my mom on the phone, and she was telling me that Dad went to a pool tournament, and the guy running it was asking him to leave because it's not fun if he wins like 3 tournaments in a row.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
it's like you can't just blow them out too hard at the start, or else they'll never do it.
It's not fun for him if his kid is shit at pool.
Yeah.
So,
Somebody in the chat asks, I don't know why dads are so stupid good at pool. It's because it's how they made beer money when they were 20.
Gotta hustle.
Is how.
Yep. You make people at the local bar that come in that are suckers from elsewhere, think that they're gonna make an easy 10 or 20, and then you fucking
it's how you make your weekend money.
And then you break out Lucille. So
yeah. You lose 2 games, and then you bet big. And then you hope that they're not the type of sore loser that try and kill you. And then you get your weekend money. It's like that's why.
All right, and let's take one more.
Well, when fighting games no longer exist.
Oh, yes.
In 20 years, when they no longer exist in 20 years, and you're looking at Wooly Jr. And you're like, hey, you want to play this old game? And he's like, really? Ah, cool. And then you just beat them within a fucking inch of their life, and they don't understand what's happening because you're doing that Swiss cheese bullshit you just mentioned. Like, how did anybody ever get good at these? It's crazy.
I mean, at that point, I think it'll be my job to be decent at whatever they evolve into. When they most certainly completely and utterly die off, never to be found again. When the genre gets merged into something else. Yeah. No, that's...
It's like a baby's game. As they jack into their phone and their eyes roll back.
You show them the ropes. You get them to, grab the stick, move it back and forth, press the buttons, and then the moment one Hadoken is successfully completed, all in. We're doing loops. We're doing lightning loops. We're doing TAC combos. Let's go. TAC infinites. Fuck it. The moment one Hadoken comes out.
I can just see any variation of this of like, honey, you really gotta let him go. No! This is the way to learn!
The intro to the game shows you Heihachi tossing the child off the cliff. It's in the game. All right. That'll do.
Don't take it easy on your kids. They're never going to learn if you coddle them. Throw them right off that cliff.
They'll when they're world champions, they'll thank you for it.
They'll thank you. Yeah.
And also,
just like Kazuya did.
Once they climb back up to the top of that cliff, they're going to be like, I understand what you did for me, Dad. Thank you so much. Doria. All right.